All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Morning Call Friday edition, the day before the holiday weekend here on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, the TuneIn app, JED TV, and don't forget YouTube Live. So lots of ways to hear us and see us this morning. Glad to be with you. Going to talk about a lot of things, but let's get right to traffic and weather together first. Traffic. Roads in Northwest Indiana in good shape. Nothing of note on 8094, I-65, the toll road, Klein Avenue, all running fine. And it's really that way across the line in Illinois right now. Even the Kennedy doesn't have any major tie-ups. I'm sure that this is all about to change. Being a holiday weekend, we probably won't see the influx of inbound traffic, but we're going to start seeing some issues on outbound. But right now, 294, the Eisenhower, Stevenson, Dan Ryan, the Bishop Ford are all running great. Chicago Skyway looks good as well. So right now, you're moving at the limit, if not above. However, that's going to change, of course, being a holiday weekend. With that, let's go to Joe with weather for this morning.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So today is Friday the 29th, and we are going to have a cool Friday afternoon and rest of your day. It's only going to get up to 67, but it will be sunny. So that's nice, and it won't be humid, so it's a very nice fall day. And then for the rest of the weekend, we're going to have much of the same with highs of 74 and 75 on Saturday and Sunday with not much clouds. And that's your weather for the rest of the week.
All right, there you go. Thanks, Joe. We're going to be here until 9 o'clock. Going to have a couple of guests join us. Mad Max is going to come and talk about movies and other issues. My son Tom's going to come in. We're going to talk about the SMRs, the small modular reactors, and some other issues. Of course, Tom just graduated law school with honors, kind of waiting for the results of the bar exam, but Tom also has a degree in chemistry and a love of science, so we'll be talking about a number of issues this morning. But I want to start with the tragedy in Minneapolis and a story that is being glossed over by the media, and I believe I know why. So there have been several posts on social media that point out that a number of we're dead on the TuneIn app. I just got a note.
Yeah, it's going kind of crazy right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just fixed it, but I think it's running through a commercial right now.
All right. Well,
But we are still live on YouTube.
Okay, we're live on YouTube, folks. Switch to YouTube. Tune in. We're having a little problem with. But I want to cover this. Since 2018, there have been 8 mass murders, very tragic events in the United States, and they all are attributed to those of transgender sexuality. A lot of people on the left say we shouldn't be talking about this. There's no proof that there's a connection. People on the right, of course, are saying there is a connection. I'm going to take a different tack this morning. The fact is that transgenders, especially young transgenders, are given huge amounts of SSRI antidepressants. If you look at what those antidepressants do, there are studies all the way back to 2006 from reputable organizations like the National Institutes of Health, Mayo Clinic, and others who say all the way back to 2006 that those antidepressants can cause homicidal tendencies and suicidal tendencies and can cause outrage and acts of violence. This all seems to be being glossed over by the news media, and I'll tell you why. Because about 40% of all ads covering network news are paid by who? They're provided by the pharmaceutical industry. The pharmaceutical industry is trying to cover over the fact that their drugs are leading to these problems. It's not because the person's transgender. It's because they're being given drugs, they're being prescribed drugs that many times the person and the family don't even know about. But it's causing these fits of rage. It's causing these homicidal tendencies. And again, there are studies. You can find them online. National Institutes of Health, 2006. Mayo Clinic, 2008, 2017. And all of a sudden, the the trail goes dead. Because why? Because the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want you to know that they may be actually helping to promulgate the violence that's occurring. And to me, that's an absolute tragedy in America. We should be given the facts. We should be given the information. And instead of talking about whether this is caused by being transgender, maybe we ought to start talking about what are these antidepressants doing to individuals, especially to youngsters. There's a child psychiatric association, and I forget the name of it now, but it'll come to me. And I read that study, and it said that, and this was from 2011. It said that these drugs are being given to children as young as 7 years old, and these drugs basically are extremely harmful. They build up in the system, and they can cause severe acts of violence. And so, if you're wondering, is there a link? It appears there is a link, but no one wants to talk about what that link actually is. The link isn't that the person is transgender. The link is that they're being treated with drugs that cause severe acts of violence. So you look at Aberdeen, Maryland, 2018, Nashville, 2023, Philadelphia, 2023, Iowa, 2024, Uvalde, 2022, Denver, 2022, and Minnesota, just the other day. There is a very strong possibility that the drugs that are being given to these individuals are causing these fits of rage that are leading to these horrible events. I also want to say that the mayor of Minneapolis has to be the biggest dimwit on earth. The other day he came out, and to me it was an insult to Catholics worldwide, and I took it as an insult, and I'm a Catholic, when he went out and said, let's not use this event to focus on transgenders. And he went into this huge diatribe about defending transgender rights. And then at the end he says, oh, yes, and we also should probably give our condolences to and sympathies to Catholics. Like, well, this really had nothing to do with the fact that these were kids that went to a Catholic church for Mass and were shot through the stained glass windows from the outside, 116 rounds. And again, they're not giving you the information, and the right isn't giving you the information either. And the reason why is because nobody wants to talk about that. It's the pharmaceutical companies that are really at the root cause of this problem. So 845-1100 is a number to call us on that issue. We are going to talk about some other issues today. It looks like President Trump is getting ready to send the National Guard to Chicago. So I mentioned the other day, I'm not a huge fan of using the National Guard in police matters, but I will say that if President Trump can put the National Guard in certain neighborhoods and it quells the violence, then it's worth it. I looked at the statement by Mayor Bowser out of Washington, D.C., who now admits that crime is down 87% in her city due to the mobilization. You know what? I still think that a lot of it is because of the federal officers that have been put out on the street to help quell the violence. But when you look at what's happening in Washington, it seems to work. And I heard Willie Wilson on another station yesterday. And boy, he came out of the box and said, look, if it reduces crime and it reduces the murder rate in Chicago, especially in the neighborhoods, in the black neighborhoods, it's worth doing. And the person that was interviewing him kept on saying, well, isn't this political? And he said, there's nothing political about saving lives. And give Willie Wilson a great deal of credit for what he said yesterday about the possibility of sending in the National Guard. He said there are kids that can't go to school because they can't get to their CTA bus stop or to their L stop. They can't get to public transportation because of the crime that's going on. There are women and men, especially senior citizens, who can't go shopping. They can't leave their homes because of the violence that's going on. And I was really taken aback by the fact that Willie Wilson was so strong in his comments. But he said, "Look," he said, we're politicizing the issue of human life, and if we can save lives, we should do whatever we can do." And he likened it to an auto accident. He said, we over the years we've put in seatbelts and airbags, and we've done all kinds of things to prevent accidents. Well, if bringing the National Guard prevents murders, then we should do it. And I give him a lot of credit. He's very opinionated, obviously. He's run for mayor before. But he had some very good points. And he said, if this is what it takes, then so be it. Noted that he didn't vote for Trump, but he likes the idea. So that's another issue I want to talk about. Obviously, Rock and Rail yesterday was the first day. It's running full steam today, tomorrow, and Sunday. So Rock and Rail in downtown Griffith. Want to mention that a few times today. There is a fundraiser coming up on September 4th for the Whiting Animal Shelter. Tickets are $50. You can get them at Center Lounge, Rebecca's Hair Salon, Whiting City Hall, and the Chamber of Commerce. Want to throw that out there. I'm obviously a dog lover. And we're going to, in the 8 o'clock hour, Peter Krakowski is going to join us. We're going to talk about the Jed TV and the sports that are coming up this week. And we'll probably talk some college football as well, since college football season kicks off this weekend as well. So lots of things to talk about, 845-1100. Joe, are you excited about the kickoff of college football season?
I am ecstatic, actually. You know me, I'm a big ball lover, and there's a lot of good games on this week. There's a lot of good games that have already happened. Honestly, the week 0 game, and there was a whole bunch of slates yesterday, actually, with more games today. The Nebraska Cincinnati game was really close. Duke versus Elon was tied at half, but Duke pulled away. Minnesota has a good team this year. They beat Buffalo 23-10. Buffalo actually has an Andrean alum on the team. I know that. He's not an alum, but he did attend the school for a little bit. Rutgers had a close game with Ohio, and Boise State actually got upset by UFC or USF. I apologize.
So, what do you make of the Notre Dame game coming up versus Miami, Florida?
I'm a
6-10, a 6 versus a number 10.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame will probably walk away with it.
It's gonna be tough though. It's not on their home turf, and
And there's a lot of history with this game.
there's a lot of history with this game. Although it's actually being played in Hollywood, Florida, at the Hard Rock Casino Stadium or whatever they call it now.
Wherever the Dolphins play, I think.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting game. That one's Sunday night. And by the way, Sunday night, another event to point out in the region is the last symphony concert in Whiting Lakefront Park. So a lot of people always go to attend that. I'm going to be a little bit torn. I'm going to the symphony concert. I think my son's staying home and watching the football game, but I'll go to the concert. I always do. They have fireworks toward the end. It's a really great evening. It's a free concert. So it's sponsored, in fact, by Tech Credit Union, who's a sponsor of our show. So shout out to Tech Credit Union for doing that. But, Notre Dame, it's going to be an interesting season for them. I looked at the top 25, and I was a little surprised to see that Indiana's ranked 20th. IU, as good as they were last year, I kind of see them as a flash in the pan. I think the portal has kind of torn their team apart.
Well, actually, so that's the whole thing with IU is that they brought in their whole team last year through
Right.
the portal, and then a bunch of those guys graduated. They have some new good portal guys. They picked up a new quarterback, the quarterback from University of California, Fernando Mendoza. He has his younger brother actually plays on the team and went to IU to start off his college career, and then Fernando chose to transfer and join him. I think he's pretty good. I followed Cal pretty closely a couple of years ago because I had a buddy who played quarterback on the team. He actually lost the battle to Fernando Mendoza, and I think he's going to be a good addition to what Kurt Cignetti likes to do with his offense and with his quarterback.
Really? So you think they're going to be decent?
I think they'll be all right.
They're obviously
I don't know if they'll make the playoffs. I
the,
think they'll drop a few games that they didn't last year.
the team that just can't pull out of the funk that they're in is Purdue.
Oh, Purdue is
Yeah, Purdue
so
is so
far
bad.
gone.
And if
They're
Jim
so
Dedalo Sr. wants to call in, because he's a big Purdue fan, love to talk to Mr. Dedalo, not Jed, Jim Sr. But yeah, I mean Purdue used to be a big team and just not there anymore. 845-1100, and I believe we have a caller, correct?
Yep.
We'll go to the calls. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Tom. Let me take this off a speakerphone.
All right, thank you, MX.
What I got to say is I'm starting to figure things out a little bit more. I'll touch on Mervan a little bit.
Oh yes, Mervan was on yesterday. He was on with Jed.
For a guy that's okay to have men in women's sports is the start of what happened in Minnesota. Now,
Well, he didn't address that, did he? He didn't talk about it.
No, because he's an asset to the community.
Oh, I heard.
I heard that 10
He's an
times.
asset to everybody. He's an asset to farmers. He's an asset to everyone. I want to know. I still want to hear an apology from Frank Mervan for not standing for that child with cancer at the State of the Union address. I still
Very
want
good
him
memory.
to apologize for that. He'll never apologize. Too arrogant.
Very good. So with Frank Mervin supporting men and women's sports and Tim Waltz, if you go into a boys' restroom, they have tampons. Now let's go in the Wayback Machine with Mr. Peabody. The way we grew up, I was fortunate enough to have a father that let me have a dirt bike that was sports-minded, take me to the Cubs games. Never do socks, no offense. I don't know who I'm offending.
Yeah, well, you're offending me, but that's okay. That's all right. I'm a struggling Sox fan. I mean, we're in the toilet. We're not even worth talking about.
And then I had an uncle who loved to fish. And in first grade, he picked me up and taught me how to fish, right? And that still went on. And the dirt bike still goes on. And I had a brother, lucky that he was a $5.99 carpenter. So I had a good life. But what's going on now is you better watch how you raise your children.
Well,
Nancy Pelosi is okay with, I guess I don't even know what you want to call it, transgender.
All right, but MX,
Right.
Did you hear what I said before at the beginning this morning of the broadcast about the issue with transgenders? There is a whole series of mass murders committed by transgenders, but what they're not telling you, neither the left or the right, as far as the media are telling you, is that they've known for more than 20 years that the very treatments that they're giving these transgender individuals, especially as children, cause homicidal tendencies. Okay? They know that those drugs cause problems. They cause fits of rage. They cause violence. And they refuse to cover that. So what the left has done is said, oh, you can't talk about transgenders. You can't. You're discriminating against them if you say that they're causing this violence. And the right is saying, well, it's because they're transgenders. It's not. It's because of the drugs. There have been studies out there for 20 years. They've known about this, but none of them want to talk about it because when you watch the network news or you watch one of the news channels online, who's their biggest sponsors? 40% of all advertising dollars for network news broadcasts are paid for by pharmaceutical companies. So they're covering for their advertisers.
Now, let's just say I didn't have the opportunity I had. And I lived in Minnesota. And Minnesota is not the Minnesota of old. When we first started going up there, it was 1982. There's a big change in Minnesota. The last time I was there was 2018 to go fishing. Probably won't go back. The resort owner said, I don't want you up in the forest after noon, 12 noon. And then when I came back a couple of years later, he says, I don't want you up in the forest anymore. Now, as I stopped in the city,
Why didn't
which
they
was
want
a
you in the
beautiful
forest?
city,
Why didn't they want you in the forest?
yeah, I got no idea what was going on. With a town of 376, where I used to go, I'm not going to mention all the towns, where I fished for since 82 to 2018, something has changed. But I noticed when I went through a town named after an Native Americans, it stopped for gas, and that's what I did. And I didn't get gas, and I left because it kind of looked kind of like maybe I shouldn't be here. Just like you said with the windows, they were touching the windows at the Apple store. Remember that?
Right? Yes. I'll never forget
So,
that.
so where would a kid be right now with a tampon dispensary in a boys' washroom? Oh, being transgender is cool. Kids are very influential. I was just lucky to have the peers I looked up to. But from what I see, and I'm telling you right now, if people could get down on me, this legalizing pot, yeah, I think you really need to think about this because that's another factor you throw in there. And they say pot now is more stronger than ever. But I see kids now, and I say, man, you'll never had the childhood we had. We had all these kids with mini bikes and dirt bikes. Now what do? You want to be a transgender now? I feel I can't do nothing about it. I'm not in control to do it, but it's pushed by the Democrats, and I'm not afraid to say that. And I'll let you go and
All right.
have a great holiday weekend.
You as well. You as well. This is a holiday that certainly celebrates you and all the steel workers and all the other workers. So thank you so much. Why don't we take a quick break? Mad Mac is here in the studio. He's in the house. We're going to take a quick break. If you're online, hold on. We're going to be right to you as soon as we take this break. You're listening to the Morning Call, Friday edition on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. right, we're back. It's the Morning Call Friday edition, and look who's here in the house. It's Mad Mac. Good morning.
How are you doing?
Doing great. I think we need to turn his mic up just a little
Sound
bit.
it on,
There we
baby.
go. Yep, sounds
There
great
we go.
now. We still have callers holding? Yes, we have 3 callers
3,
holding.
wow.
Let's go right to the callers, Mad Mac. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
And yes, I actually including Mad Mac in that.
Well, yeah,
Hey, I can hear
kinda
you,
wondered-
you know, right?
Kind of wondered about that, but go ahead.
Just thinking about the weekend and how it's Labor Day weekend, and that it's a lot of people need to remember that it's not about barbecues and linen sales and everything else, but it's about the labor movement and everything that it's done to make working conditions better for everybody. The 40-hour week, OSHA, et cetera, and just child labor laws. It's something that's we need to sit back and think about.
We need to celebrate labor and employment as a whole. I will just say the 40-hour work week actually didn't come about because of unions. It came about because of the Fair Labor Standards Act, and it was designed as a method, a measure to increase employment during the Depression under the Roosevelt administration. Just to clarify.
Okay. Well, all right. But it's still part of the labor movement. Okay. So, anyways, I find it kind of insulting that the guy in the front office is basically thumbing his nose at the labor movement to an extent, and the fact that there was an executive order that was recently executed that dissolved all the CBAs for federal employees.
What guy in the front office, Dietlow or Trump?
I think he's talking about Trump. But look, the collective bargaining agreements, let me just point this out. So even locally, you have cities and towns that have collective bargaining agreements, but those collective bargaining agreements, they can't strike, okay? Police officers, firefighters, public works, they can't strike. There's some real limitations on what those agreements actually do. They lay out certain benefits and they lay out increase in pay. And I'm proud of the fact that I've negotiated a lot of those agreements that currently exist in the area. But there are some limitations when it comes to government, and those limitations exist at the state level and the federal level as well.
Yeah, I just I thought it was interesting the timing of the executive order, and just that it's you have enough people that are having problems with trying to keep the mindset and trying to do a good job for government positions.
Let me ask you a quick question, though. There are a lot of unions. I mean, Teamsters Union and the auto workers, which is now part of the USW. I mean, they're quite pleased with some of the initiatives of the current administration.
Well, yeah, there are some people that are happy with the current administration, and there have been some good things that have come through, I guess.
I think every administration's a bit of a mixed bag, so you're not going to get everything that you want. My concern, if I were going to take a look at collective bargaining, my concern would be with the state of Indiana more so than with the federal government. I think that the current administration in Indianapolis, I'd just be concerned about where collective bargaining stands for state employees. I really would if I were you.
Well, collective bargaining for state employees was totally screwed up when McDaniels came into office.
Absolutely. And remember, the building trades and everybody else supported him quite heartily for his second term, and he turned around and repaid the favor. So it was difficult. Hey, thank you so much for the call. We've got full lines, so got to move on. Thank you. 845-1100, we've got another caller. Good morning, you're on the air. Good morning. You're on the air.
Morning. Hey, Tom.
Yes.
Wasn't it Tim Waltz that signed an order or something that turned Minnesota into a sanctuary for the transgender satanic death cult?
Well, they've declared Minnesota and Minneapolis in particular as the transgender sanctuaries. So you're right about that.
Yeah, but like you were talking earlier about the stuff that they put these kids on, the medications.
Yeah, I mean,
why don't nobody talk about that?
Well, you know why? Because, and I just said when Mad Mac walked
just
in,
talking about it.
we're just talking about during the break. The news media largely is supported by ads from the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, so I don't care if you're watching MSNBC or you're watching Fox News. You can watch ABC Network News, you can watch NBC Network News, and guess who their big advertisers are? The pharmaceutical industry. So nobody wants to talk about the fact that they've been filling these kids for more than 20 years full of medicine that causes homicidal tendencies and suicide. They don't talk about that. RFK Jr. tried to bring it up the other day, and it was buried by all news organizations. But when you go online, all you have to do is type in SSRI, antidepressants, okay, and then look at connection to transgender community, and then look at connections to, look for suicide and homicidal tendencies, and you'll see the studies. National Institutes of Health, Mayo Clinic, there's a pediatric medical professional association. They've all done studies, and then these studies get buried. And I think it's largely because the pharmaceutical industry plays such a key role in those advertising dollars.
Advertising, yeah. No, they literally have these drugs now. And people probably don't know this, but they literally have these drugs. They could give this to a 16-year-old girl. In a year, she'll have a better beard than you or I and a deeper voice than any of us could ever imagine. That's how whacked. So you think you're going to scramble someone's genetics and play Dr. Frankenstein with these kids, and something bad's not going to happen?
Well, and again, you know, look, I don't have a problem with transgenders. I don't have a problem with gays, lesbians, you name it. I don't have a problem with your sexuality. I don't necessarily think that I want to talk about your sexuality any more than you want to talk about mine. But the point is that it's not that they're transgender. It's what they're being given to make that change that is causing tremendous harm. And it appears that at least in eight situations since 2018, there have been these deadly mass shootings, and it's caused by transgenders. And the left is saying, oh, you can't say that. And the right is saying, well, you can say that, but it's all about their sexuality. And nobody's talking about what the real cause is.
I mean, they're being filled with chemicals that you wouldn't. You'd leave the room if you spilled it on your kitchen table, and you'd call in a hazmat team. And yet, you know, I remember saying this like about 9 years ago with D'Lo on the air, and he thought I was insane. I go, you can't change you can't change who you are. That's it. Now you can you're mentally maybe try to overcome things in that, or get help or discuss it. But chemically, you got to be out of your blanking mind. What parent would do that to their kids?
And you're filling these kids.
They do.
You're filling these kids
that's
with
the
these
thing.
drugs.
Where are the parents for these kids?
Well,
and now the lady who's the mother of this little blockhead, immediately
she's already got a criminal
already
attorney,
lawyered up. Yeah.
And look, here's the problem. The pharmaceutical industry isn't telling us, and the medical profession isn't telling us either. The medical profession knows what the side effects are, so these people that are involved in these transformational treatments aren't saying to the parent, by the way, mom and dad, if I treat Johnny with these drugs, it could cause him to want to commit suicide, or it could cause him to have homicidal tendencies. They're glossing over.
Yeah, there were documentaries about I remember watching one 4 or 5 years ago, and it literally they're filming the doctor with the parents and the child, and they go, don't worry, this is all reversible if you don't want to do it. It's reversible? You got to be kidding me. You're going to fill them with this stuff, and you have no idea how it's going to change their physiological makeup. And then you go, well, we don't know what's going to happen, but no matter what, we can reverse it.
Well, and they say that the Minnesota shooter was very disenchanted with
wanted to get out of it.
He wanted to get out of it. But because they've given him so many drugs, he can't get out of it. It's just terrifying.
And that's why, yesterday I told Devo, you got Congress up there bitching about gain of function research. We're doing it to our own kids.
We are. We're doing it to our own kids, and we're not telling our kids, and we're not telling the parents what's
But
going on.
hospitals all over the country are cutting this stuff out, though.
Hold on,
thank God.
Joe.
I
Go
had
ahead.
to go to break. He said a bad word.
I did?
Can't. No, not you.
No. Okay. All right.
We're gonna go to break. Sorry.
We're going to go to break. We'll come back.
Joe, you gave me a heart attack. I
no,
thought I was
no,
going to
you're
get fired
doing
on my
great.
birthday.
It's the
with you.
morning call. I
Great,
missed
man.
that one. It's the morning call on WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, and we've got phone lines full, so we're going to go right to the callers.
Yes. I'd like to say we're in debate on whether or not what was said on air should have been said. But make sure you guys are careful with what you say on air.
Yeah, please, folks.
regardless.
Hey, I pride myself. I'm the only guy that has been around here since 2003, 2004, and never had a complaint. So let's keep it that way.
Exactly.
845-1100.
Doesn't mean you didn't do something wrong.
845-1100 is
It's like
the
saying
number
I never
to call.
caught stealing.
Yes. Go ahead. We'll take another call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Tom. Lunch
morning.
menu Dave checking in from Evanston, Illinois. And yeah, with what I'm kind of hearing about the pharmaceutical business and whatnot, it's like that's another reason it seems like this craziness with the transgenders. I think that's another reason why I'm glad I didn't go into medicine and kind of bombed out of biology in high school.
Well,
Dr.
again,
Griffith.
think about it. They're not telling the full story. And Mad Max said, he saw a documentary from 4 or 5 years ago where they don't mention the dangers and the risks. And again, I understand the heartbreak and the issues that parents are facing, but are they being told the dangers that they're putting their child into when they go through these kinds of therapies and the possibilities that, no one wants their child to commit suicide. No one wants their child to commit murder. And nobody is talking about it yet. When you go online, I'm not a doctor, but I was able to find the information quite easily when I researched it last night. And it says that SSRIs, are known to cause a number of psychological conditions and disorders.
What is an SSRI?
SSRIs are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So again, it's
Sounds like something that goes into like a ammunitions depot from the war.
well, but Mayo Clinic,
Way
here,
over my head.
Cleveland Clinic, National Institutes of Health, they all did studies back in, mid 2000 first decade, maybe 2006, 2008, and they're saying there's these dangers, and nobody's talking about them. Why? Because once again, you can watch Fox News, you can watch MSNBC, and they both are talking about the situation in Minnesota. And MSNBC is saying, let's not blame the transgender community. And Fox News is saying, let's blame the transgender community. And what they're not doing is telling you that neither of them are talking about the pharmaceutical industry. Why? Because as soon as they go to break, who's their sponsor? A pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like from the way you're talking about it, who's blaming the pharmaceutical company?
Well, I mean, don't you think at least that people ought to know the connection? I mean, why isn't it out there?
Well, they don't advertise those drugs like the other ones either, though.
Well, they don't advertise these drugs, but
Yeah.
if you're a big pharma company, you don't want to have any blame or any culpability, so they're not going to talk about anything.
Yeah. But, I mean, at least they're legally like Ozempic, right? When they run that commercial, there's about 40 seconds at the end where they give you the 8,000 things that could go wrong.
Sure,
with
they're
this
not going to
stuff.
run right. They're not going to run.
Yeah,
they're not going to run the details on these.
Yeah, see, I blame the doctors because, like I said, if you saw this interview, they literally it was a female doctor at that place down in I think it might have been Vanderbilt, and they've closed off all that tranny stuff now. But she literally tells the parents, going, listen, we can start the program. We'll chemical this kid, right? We'll open her head and pour all this stuff in there. Gotcha, Joe. And then if you don't like it or it's not working, it's all reversible. I don't care what the pharmaceutical company said. The doctor's right there sitting 4 feet from you. And if you believe that, you've got to be out of your mind.
Well,
I can't even imagine, man.
It's tragic. It's
poor
tragic
kids.
because I believe that it basically is a protection of big pharma and the medical profession, and they're not telling us the truth about this.
Well, on a bit of a lighter note, though,
Yes.
I had planning on heading my way back down to my old neck of the woods over in Griffith today and coming down for the Rock and Rail Fest this
Come
weekend.
on out. I was there last night,
Great
baby. It was
festival.
fantastic.
It's a great festival.
So yes, I'm kind of trying to switch things up and kind of put a little bit of a lighter note on things.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk, in fact, shortly we're going to really switch things up because we're going to talk about movies. So stay tuned on that one. Hey, thank you so much for calling. 845-1100. You got another caller. We'll go to another caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning. Just a couple of quick points. It is amazing the number of pharmaceutical ads on television.
Absolutely.
It is absolutely mind-blowing. It makes me wonder if, I'm not for censorship, but they did say, hey, we can't have tobacco advertising, big tobacco. They can't do it.
It's true.
And let's see what happens to the pharmaceutical industry in the sense of how does society maybe straighten itself up a little bit if this stuff is not, I'm not saying it's being force-fed, but you cannot if they say that putting a cigarette in front of everybody's face is a temptation and it's going to make them seek that out, it's unfair, it's not healthy. Let's just see how long all of this stuff lasts if it's not put in our face every single day.
Well,
I don't understand why the pro-transgender people are so, we can't deny this to the children. I used to smoke cigarettes. I remember when it used to be when you walked in to get a pack of cigarettes, and and alcohol, if you didn't look like you were at least 30 years old, you had to ID because this stuff is bad for you. You can't be under the age of 21, and I know they've raised it for cigarettes because cigarettes are so bad for you. yet a 10-year-old can be pumped full of chemicals that we don't really know what they are.
And you can buy weed anywhere you want now, too.
Well, I want to back up
Yeah.
though, real fast to one of your points. The reason why you're not going to see a prohibition on pharmaceutical ads is because all of these news organizations, the news networks, the network news programs, 40% of their advertising is being supported by the pharmaceutical industry. So they can't afford to cut them off.
Let me interrupt you. Maybe that's the perfect reason to.
Well, you're right. I mean, you made the comparison to tobacco and tobacco ads. When I was a kid, tobacco ads were on all the time. I used to love the Marlboro ads because they played the theme to the Magnificent Seven. Remember that? And they'd have,
Yeah.
I mean, those beautiful horses. The guy would be on the horse, riding out into the snow. And,
the Marlboro Man, right?
Oh, those were great ads, and I used to love them. And there were also some really cute ads that were out there with like Lucky Stripe and some of those.
How come those guys haven't taken them to court for freedom of speech? Going, we can advertise everything else. I mean, now you put on MTV or something like that, or any of the cable channels. Man, they advertise for stuff. I mean, it looks like
question. Maybe
it looks like soft porn on it.
We'll ask Tom when he comes in.
Hey, Bob, you're still up in North Hammond, right?
South.
So, how'd you survive the flood? You get any or?
No, didn't get any.
Oh, good for you, man.
Couple other quick points though. First of all, this just came to mind. You mentioned the Marlboro Man. They couldn't use that today because of masculine
toxicity or whatever.
Toxicity. Yeah. Oh my God, they
Easy
couldn't have that guy. That guy. They couldn't even show him on television.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
He'd be an assless chaps or something.
You're right.
Yeah, exactly. And the second thing is, or the fifth thing is, whatever number.
He's a tranny now, by the way. He switched.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead, Bob. We got to cut Mad
I
Max.
do not know I don't know if it's going to be this administration. I don't know if it's going to be what happened up in Minneapolis, which was a travesty. I don't know what it is, what it's going to take. But for God's sake, somebody better come up with the testicular fortitude to say we need to start looking at this trans stuff as mental health. We throw mental health at everything because it rained today. Everybody's mental health is bad. This is mental health. That is mental health. The world revolves around how people feel.
Well, it was actually looked as a mental health issue until the Obama administration. The Obama administration basically pulled back and said, let's not treat it as mental health anymore.
Let's not judge. Let's just let everybody be what they want to be. If they want to be a unicorn, they can be a unicorn. It's ridiculous.
Lack of responsibility being a Democrat.
Well, this is ridiculous. I mean, this has gotten to the point now where there is absolutely the things that are mental health are not mental health. They're just called light. The things that are truly would be cause for people to say, I wonder how this guy's, somebody needs to keep an eye on this guy. I was reading some of the stuff this morning, mainstream media, the reporting about this idiot up in Minneapolis, writing pages and pages about his fascination with murder and planning this whole thing out.
Murder of children.
The murder of children. I mean, this is a guy who broadcast what was in his heart, what he was going to do, and you still have Tim Walz and other politicians saying we need gun control. You had a lunatic, an absolute lunatic, telling you what he was going to do.
Was all this stuff?
And his mom did nothing.
He did not want.
And his mom did nothing to stop him.
He didn't want to talk about this with a counselor or anybody because he knew he would be put on a list. There were no people around him that knew this guy was absolutely insane.
Hey, was this stuff available on like Facebook or something, or on his like personal diaries on the internet anywhere, or did it only come out after he got after this incident?
He published his final statement just moments before.
Yeah, but was it out there anywhere prior to that?
Know.
They didn't.
Bob,
I haven't heard it yet.
People say, well, there was made a comment. Didn't a family member lawyer up?
The mother did right out of the blocks.
The mother lawyered up right away, and again, look, he may not have.
She knew for sure.
He may not have had it out there, or she may not have had it out there everywhere. But the parents, the mother knew, the siblings most likely knew. I mean, all my
Can I just
siblings
make-
are
can I
adults,
make
and I
one-
still know
one
what they do.
observation? I want to make just one observation. I'll let you. I want you to get some more calls. When a he thinks he's a she, there's a mental health issue.
No, right out of the
There's-
blocks.
Right out of the block, man. We do not have to have a debate. We don't have to go on and on about how will it make this person feel. When a boy thinks he's a girl, that's mental health.
Not according
If
to
we
the
can't
left,
figure
baby.
that out as a society, if we cannot figure that out as a society, we are screwed.
Yeah, not
We are
according
so
to Frank
screwed,
Mervan.
it's not even
Well,
funny.
unfortunately, Bob, what we're doing is we're giving them drugs that are causing worse problems than they already have.
Yes. We're pumping them full of stuff we don't even know what it is. And when you watch those commercials, and at the very end, where they have to disclose, and I realize that they have to report this if it shows up in a certain percentage of trials and everything else. But my God, when you're depressed, and then it tells you this drug may cause depression and suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
My God, this is what you're trying to stop, for God's sake.
Well, and Bob, I'm
not
going to leave.
saying that pharmaceuticals don't have a place in society for helping people with mental health issues, but when you're a boy and you think you're a girl, giving you more drugs probably may not be the answer.
Bob, I'm going to leave your call with this. All weekend long now, I'm not going to be able to get the Marlboro ad out of my mind. So, thanks for that one. Have a great day.
My version of it or yours?
84, not yours. 845-1100. We have some more callers. Let's take those callers, and we're going to go to a break. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Tough guy. How you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
All right.
I was able to listen to the Frank Mervan campaign rally program yesterday. How he's an asset to everybody.
To farmers. Asset to farmers. I heard that one.
Oh, my gosh. Come on.
No, I mean, among many others, he's an asset to farmers.
Anybody breathing in the region, he's an asset.
Help me with the math here because I'm not real bright. How does giving Maryville Police Department, helping them get new radios, or helping Gary PD with some funding, how does that outweigh the millions of criminals he allowed in through that open border and never took a stand against that?
None of your business.
Here's what drives me nuts about that, okay? And look, I understand every congressman does it. Over the years, I've processed an awful lot and filled out applications for a lot of federal dollars for a lot of clients, all right? Upwards of about $40 million. So when you fill out these grant applications for radios for a police department, right? It says, what district are you in? And you put Indiana 1st District. You have to fill it in. Then when you get to the end of the application, it says letters of support. If you call the congressman's office, they point out correctly, under law, they are not allowed to support your application. So you can't send the application in for those radios with a letter of endorsement from your local congressman. But when the award is made, they make it through the congressional office to make it sound like they got you the money. All right? Congressional offices don't get grant dollars. They simply tell you that you got them, and it looks like, it's this appearance that they got you the money. But in reality, they didn't get you the money. The community that applied for the grant got the money through a program. But when the award is made, then it comes through that it came from the congressional office. To me, it's crazy.
It's kind of hypocritical, right?
Well, it's totally hypocritical. They didn't apply for it. They can't even, again, they're forbidden by law to weigh in and say, please give the town of Griffith X dollars.
Yeah,
They
but then you know how this government crap goes. Guarantee he picked up a burner phone and called somebody and said, "Hey, we got 5 applications coming in from
They
Highland
don't even
Griffith,
know
da, da,
it. They don't even know it. The
come on, these
congressional
guys are in the
office doesn't even know
government.
it.
They're lying 80% of the
because
time, right?
No, because I've done applications for federal dollars for entities in the 1st District and other districts in the state of Indiana, and those other districts in the state of Indiana get the same award that the 1st District gets and vice versa. So
Yeah.
if you meet the conditions, you get the money. Radios, bulletproof vests,
Yeah, helmets, blah, blah,
all of
blah,
that
yeah.
stuff. All of that stuff. It's all the same. Go ahead.
Tom, can you speak a little slower and louder for the liberals in the area? And are breaking it down, are you saying that Mervan probably didn't have anything to do with that?
I'm saying that if he did, it'd be against the law. Look, I'm not trying to fault Frank Mervan on this. My point is that you can take any congressman in the United States. They're forbidden from sending a letter of support on most of these grants. Okay, the cops program, for example, they can't write letters of support. They can't write letters of support on economic development dollars that come from the federal government. They're not allowed to weigh in on a lot of these issues. I think they're allowed to weigh in on transportation, but that's about it. For the most part, they're not allowed to weigh in.
Tom, you had me when you said that you lost respect, and if I've got it wrong here, please correct me. When Frank Mervan refused to stand for those children and those parents,
Yes.
and he had to look over at Schumer and Pelosi to get the blessing when he could clap and when he could not clap.
Look, that little boy, African American who has cancer, who they swore him in as an honorary Secret Service agent. Okay, I've read about that little boy and what he's gone through. That kid has gone through absolute hell in his life. He's had over a dozen operations. Every person there should have been standing up. And I will say, when I had him on the air, if you remember, McDermott said not only would he be standing, he'd be standing on the table. I mean, that to me, that's wrong. And Frank should have come out and said, hey, my mistake. I apologize. I would have accepted the apology, but to this day, he still has not apologized for that, and he won't apologize for his stand.
Was this
on
under Trump's second term? Was that right?
This last speech, technically it's not the State
It wasn't
of the
the State of the
Union,
Union,
right,
but it was the one. Okay.
Right, yeah.
Did you see the guy walk by with a cowboy hat?
No, I did not. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller, and then we're going to take a break.
Must have been for the Garth Brooks show last night at Rock and Rail.
Lastly, the open borders and criminals coming across didn't get Frank's attention, really, because they were undocumented persons, so to speak, as he labels them.
And potential Democratic voters.
Absolutely. And the men competing against women really didn't get Frank's attention, but redistricting lines
got his attention. You know what? I'm still surprised too, because on the men and women's sports issue, he has daughters. I mean, he has all daughters. I'm really surprised that he didn't take a stand. I mean, you got to give Gavin Newsom credit. Actually, Newsom said more about men playing in women's sports than Frank Mervan. So, I mean, I don't get it.
I got eligibility left. I might go sign up at the high school they're at.
Yeah, you're yes.
Get on a couple teams over there.
I think Dave will agree. You're the fear on the left and the right, playing in any sports.
I can hear you.
Hey, thanks so much for the call. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for taking my call, guys.
All right, let's go to a break. I think we still have some people holding, but we're going to take a break. And joining us,
your son roaming around?
Yes, joining us shortly is the other Tom Dabertin. So
Didlo. The other Tom Dabertin's out there stealing coffee right now, Jimmy.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back after these commercial announcements. You're listening to WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM. All right, we're back. Good morning again. This is WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana, and you are listening to the Morning Call Friday edition. And we're also available on the TuneIn app, Jed TV, and now YouTube Live. So many ways to listen and watch us this morning. Glad that you're with us. Let's go right to traffic and weather. Excuse me. Traffic.
You know how to do Heimlich?
Yes, traffic in Northwest Indiana, not bad. 8094, I-65, the toll road, Klein Avenue, all look good. Going across the line into Illinois, the Chicago Skyway is in decent shape. Bishop Ford's in good shape. 294, Dan Ryan, actually. The only one right now, the only major expressway that's showing some backup is the Kennedy, and, of course, that's under construction. So we're in pretty good shape. Now, I'm watching both inbound and outbound right now, and we're not seeing a lot of traffic, which is really great because we're coming up on one of the busiest travel days of the year. So I would say if you're going anywhere, jump in the car and get going now because it's going to be hellacious in a couple of hours. With that, let's go to Joe with weather.
All right, so it is a beautiful Friday football weather day. It is mostly sunny, not so humid, and a high of 67. And then to round out the rest of the weekend, it's going to be just as beautiful with highs of 74 on Saturday and 75 on Sunday with minimal clouds. And that's your weather.
All right. And with that, we're now joined by another guest in the studio, my son, Tom. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, Tom, of course, recent graduate of IU McKinney Law School, graduated with honors, and took the bar, waiting for the results.
Yep, they like to keep you waiting.
They keep you waiting. So you took the bar during Pierogi Fest.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And
first one I've ever missed in my entire life.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
And the last one that I was involved in. Maybe that's the reason why. Yeah. And so you'll get your results sometime in what, September?
Yeah. So I think they say 6 to 8 weeks from the date. So yeah, around September, end of September.
All right, and of course you're looking to be practicing in downtown Hammond.
Yes, with Uncle David. Yep.
Yeah, so you're going to be joining my brother David in practicing law and doing bankruptcy law.
Yep. And
keeping guys like Mad Mac out of trouble.
Yeah. Best I can. I'm not a miracle worker, but
I can hear you. You know, my God, how many times I got to say that today?
So, we've been talking about a lot of things this morning, but one of the things that I really wanted you to come on and talk about is this issue of we're going to talk about bad. We're going to talk about bad. Hey, look at this. I got a water. Hey, all right. 845-1100. By the way, we'll take calls whenever they come in. So if we have calls, Joe, are we okay right now? We're all right. But one of the things that we're going to talk about is movies, and we saw a dumb movie. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But I also want to talk about this whole issue. Tom, when I was on Wednesday, big point of discussion was NIPSCO, okay, and the rates in Northwest Indiana and Northern Indiana are just out of control. Okay, utility rates are nuts. And you have talked about this for a number of years. You're really kind of my source of information about these small modular reactors. And why these are an opportunity for this area.
Yeah, I think so. The whole idea is the problem. So nuclear energy is the most dense form of energy that we've ever created. Problem with it is that it's the only form of energy that's actually gone up in cost over the past, call it 30, 40 years. And the reason for that is, one, we don't have any domestic fuel source. We import all of our we import all of our uranium fuel from, I believe, Australia, Canada, and formerly Russia was actually one of the biggest fuel rod producers. Another reason for that is just regulations around reactors. Every single reactor the last one that got commissioned was in Georgia, I think last year, and it came in 10 years over the timeline, and I think $8 billion over budget. And one of the reasons for that is because when you create those giant nuclear reactors that we all know, we're familiar with, those
3 Mile Island or something.
Yeah, 3 Mile Island, Fukushima, all the ones that create terawatt hours of tens and 20s of terawatt hours a year. Those are huge projects, and think about every single part is basically custom built for that site. It's not like you just, create these reactors in a factory, roll them out to the site, plug them in, and then boom, you have a nuclear reactor. No, you created the whole thing from scrap. So imagine you're building a car from scrap in your garage.
Scratch, you mean, right?
You're scratch, sorry, yeah, from your garage. You're ordering custom
Mad
parts
Max
for
would
everything.
be building
yeah,
it from
yeah.
scrap.
Yeah, you're ordering all custom parts from several different suppliers, all that stuff. So the whole idea with small modular reactors is, okay, let's build reactors on a factory line and just pump them out like crazy. And so and then the other part about it is they're small. So instead of having these massive reactors, you're going to have more smaller reactors that it's basically physically impossible for them to go critical because you're having such a smaller level of smaller energy production. And there's different, design things where the actual physics of the reactor itself can't melt down. So it's unlike these giant ones that we've been making where they can go super critical because we're running them super hot. These are a lot smaller and run at a much more consistent rate because they're much smaller. So once the biggest problems are, like we were talking about yesterday, is regulation, which this administration's been doing an awesome job with actually clearing the pathway for. Trump's signed 3 executive orders now about clearing the pathway for for domestic nuclear reactors. And then the other big one is they needed a customer base. So with AI being such an energy just black hole, really, Meta, Google, Microsoft, all those companies, they're out there. I think Microsoft actually just kind of bought
3 Mile Island.
Yeah, they bought 3 Mile Island. So now there's a customer base.
What could go wrong, right?
Yeah.
Start that baby up.
Yeah, so now they have a customer base, and then the other big thing is, so the next big hurdle they have to get to is that mass economies of scale, the Henry Ford style assembly line production of these things.
To make them all turnkey, right?
Yes. So the idea is it's literally just a factory line, and you're just, it's an assembly line.
Ship out the parts, build it. Everybody's got the same plan.
These
right?
things fit on the side the back of a pickup truck, or not pickup truck, a 16-wheeler. So you can ship them anywhere. And modular, the great part of that is, okay, you put one in Hammond, Indiana, produces about 2 terawatt hours a year. That's about all we really would need. But let's say Hammond's population doubles and we need more energy, or we open up a factory or something, you just plug a second one in.
So for us dummies, how much energy is a terawatt hour? Is that power like Hammond for an hour or a week or a year or like?
About a year, yeah.
About a year. So
we were doing the math yesterday.
Yeah, so
about a terawatt hour for Hammond's total residential, and from what I understand, from what I've been able to find.
Give you an example. I mean, Mayor McDermott is one of many veterans who served on a nuclear powered ship. In this case, he served on the Hyman Rickover, which was a sub. And he points out that he literally slept 6 feet away from the darn thing. And that, people who've been in the Navy, I've talked to a number of folks, they've been on nuclear powered carriers. And the same thing, they're like, there's no danger. These are very small reactors. So as you said, for them to go critical is next impossible. Mm-hmm. They're small, but they can produce an immense amount of energy. And if you think about it, if we invested in these small reactors, you could have them in different locations. And so I was reading one yesterday, in fact, Mad Mac, that it said you could have a small reactor could run as many as 300,000 homes. So basically, you could have one small reactor that could handle all of Lake County.
And you guys are trying to tell me, though, this is better than windmills and solar panels?
Yeah,
Are you kidding?
Solar panels.
Because I know that guy who's in the White House who was under critical care most of the time. He said they would work forever. So did the guy from the south side of Chicago who never lived there that got his property from Tony Resco. What was his name, Obama?
I think extreme cynicism can be considered mental illness, too.
So that's what France does.
There's a drug for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, a prescription with 18 things on why you'll drop dead in an hour after pill number 1. But doesn't France run their country on these things?
Well, they run
a lot of it, right?
They run their country from just traditional nuclear reactors, actually.
The bigger ones?
Yeah, they've been doing it since the oil crisis.
But they're all the same, though, right?
They're not SMRs. They do the big ones, yeah. I think they might be all the same. One of the other problems of why nuclear energy has gotten more expensive in the United States and has actually dropped in other countries like France and South Korea is because they have an actual industry that's, the first time you build something, it's more difficult. The first time you do something, the 100th time you do something, it's a little easier now, right?
Yeah, big screen TVs.
Yeah, exactly. So South Korea, France, I think Japan, a couple countries have been running off nuclear energy for a long time. And the funny thing is we actually produce the most nuclear energy of any country in the world. It just makes up I think we're like 20th or 30th in terms of our total energy consumption of what fraction that makes
As a
up.
percentage?
Yeah.
And-
but in terms of just total raw output, we're way ahead of a lot of
that's
And
kinda funny.
most of those nuclear reactors in Japan and in France and in other countries are made largely by U.S. companies. So
Yeah, GE
we
is a
actually
huge one.
GE is the biggest producer of nuclear reactors.
the big ones.
Right, the big ones. But we sell them to everybody else.
Who
but we
makes
don't-
the little
we
ones,
don't
like
put them in the
Walmart or
United
someone?
States.
Who's doing that, man?
There's several companies. There's one, Oklo, AKLO. There's their stock ticker. I can't remember the name of the company, but they're making one. Small, Nucascale. There's like 4 or 5 companies that are really. It's kind of a race to the finish line right now to get the. They all have models. Westinghouse is another one. Rolls Royce is another one. They're all trying to get prove the get past all the safety regulations right now. So right now, none have been approved by the Nuclear Regulatory Committee, but the Trump administration is clearing the red tape to get them to the testing as fast as
So
possible.
now that I'm putting all this together, if they clear the red tape quick enough, your bankruptcy business may plummet because people won't be going bankrupt this quick,
not from
paying their
NIPSCO.
NIPSCO bill.
Yeah.
But if they hold up, if we get Biden back in office or somebody,
Yeah.
NIPSCO rates will quadruple again, and then you'll be printing money
Yeah.
over there doing bankruptcy stuff.
I mean, again, you think about it though, and it makes so much sense because one of the big problems with NIPSCO right now is that they're not producing enough electricity themselves, so they're basically having to buy it on the North American grid, and
They're rent seeking. They have their monopoly, and now they're saying, well, why would we put money into it when we could just arbitrage between the price of this and selling it to the customer? They don't.
and
what could
we're
go
their
wrong
landlord.
They're a landlord, yeah.
doing that? Is what was it? Who was the company in Texas that did that with the energy?
Oh, Enron.
Enron, yeah. that'll work, no problem.
yeah.
Enron, which, by the way, the former chairman and CEO of NIPSCO years ago said that he wanted to pivot NIPSCO to be more like Enron. It was on the front page of the Times about a year before Enron went under.
I was like, do you think you're going to beat these Wall Street traders in the trading game when you got some kid you hired out of Purdue, Cal, who's got an engineering degree? You're going to put him on the trading desk to go out and buy energy on the open market, right?
Yeah.
They're going to take that price and they're going to wrap it around that kid's neck, throw him off the building, and then our rates will go again higher. It's going to be...
You know, your days of the Board of Trade must have been really interesting. That's all I can say.
Well, I mean, my God, it's like because you can see the problem though, right? Oh yeah, because I remember talking to a guy like 12 years ago. Why are you guys giving away all these light bulbs? Why are you trying to pay everybody not to use energy? And he goes, do you know what it would take for us to build another plant, a coal plant in this day and age? You know, it costs us billions of dollars. We'd have to have 1,000 lawyers to get through all the regulatory stuff. We'll never get that done. And now we've made the idiotic move of thinking windmills and solar power are going to solve the problem. And what's it down in Winfield? I think they had 4 coal plants. They were going to shut them all. They stopped at 2, and now they fired up a 3rd because that open market purchasing stuff. Yeah, open market.
So here's a text. This is a text from Mark from Hobart who said, what are the costs of these units? Is it far-fetched to believe that maybe municipalities could actually buy one of these units and then compete against NIPSCO?
I mean, it's hard to say because, again, no one – like I said, one of the biggest factors is getting to that economies of scales where you're just running a factory, 24 hours a day and printing these things. So the actual cost of energy isn't, set yet. We don't know. There's a whole industry that needs to get built up. But the idea is that, yeah, once these things get, to that economies of scale, they will be the cheapest form of energy. I do think that that's a very big possible future, is that you're going to start seeing more and more microgrids where municipalities, counties start saying, you know what, why are we dealing with NIPSCO? Why are we dealing with these companies? Why can't we just plug one of these things in and have our own residential power? I do think with, you're not fans, with more batteries technologies, energies like these, solar has been becoming more and more energy efficient every single year. Wind, I'm not a big fan of, but I do think that will be a trend in the future. Is that, yeah, you're gonna have more and more microgrids of just municipalities saying, why do we need to be plugged into this whole nationwide system when we can just kind of do our own thing?
845-1100 if you want to join in on the conversation. Again, this idea of these small module reactors, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, Mad Mac, you and I are both, I can see the wheels turning on both our minds. I mean, why wouldn't you have, why wouldn't you have your own municipal modular reactor and tell everybody to pound salt?
The great thing is Indiana, actually, the state legislature, I'll give it to them, they've actually been kind of clearing the path for, they're a little ahead of the curve in seeing this coming and starting to clear the path for it. I know there is actually one running, I think it's in Iowa, that's been running for about 2 or 3 years now. It's kind of been like a test run, but, more, like I said, more and more companies are investing in this. They're developing it. They're trying to get through that regulatory barrier, and then it's the economies of scale. And one of the reasons we haven't had this yet is, like I said, there wasn't, the demand for building up this industry, because why would you build up this industry? We can have another natural gas plant. Well, like I said, with the AIs and all the tech companies investing billions of dollars and gobbling up as much energy as they can, now you have a client base. You have someone who wants this thing.
For example, they're going to build a $1.8 billion addition to the facility they built over on the state line for basically housing all these computers and for all the needs for AI.
The data center.
They're going to put a data center in Hobart. They're going to put a data center out somewhere. Isn't it LaPorte County?
Somewhere out,
is just massive. So these data centers, in fact, the one on the state line is all contingent upon being able to provide the necessary power. Now, that location puts it right at a trunk terminal for the North American grid. So it's probably likely they can get the power. But once again, how does that affect our needs? Because when I want to go turn on the television or a light at home, am I going to pay, again, am I going to have to go see you for a bankruptcy to pay for it?
Yeah, it's a serious concern of our residential and, our municipalities going to have to compete with Facebook for energy costs, with are we going to have to go to NIPSCO and say, hey, can we get, some of that energy you're producing that you're selling to Facebook?
Is that one in Hammond all powered by NIPSCO, or do they get some from Commonwealth Edison?
That's a good question. It's a good question because, again, when they tore down that plant, I was actually involved in the teardown, and I remember
were you actually there with a sledgehammer?
Yes. No, I was
How'd
actually
that go?
No, I was actually a rep for Hammond though on the demolition.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
guy's out in the pool too much.
The guy that used to be the plant manager of State Line Generating pointed out to me. He's like, "Well, we can tear down the plant, but," he said, "you see all that switching equipment over there?" He said that switching equipment is key to the North American grid, and he was naming all the different companies that run energy through that grid over there. And in fact, he told me that the switching equipment itself was governed by a treaty with Canada because the North American grid includes Canada. So
is it switching for power or switching for telecom?
Oh, it's a switch for power. I mean, you go out there. I mean, you ride your bike along the lakefront, so you ride through there. What do you hear? You hear that constant buzzing sound.
Oh, yeah.
Because those power lines are coming in from all over the place. So they're coming in from Illinois, from Michigan, from Indiana. So some of that's NIPSCO, but a lot of it isn't. I don't know if they're tapped into just NIPSCO or not. It's a good question.
Yeah, I think you want to have something, a little backup just in case.
Yeah, absolutely, especially if you're running a giant data center. I mean, the beauty of that location, by the way, is that the old State Line generating power station had a permit to take 60 million gallons a day out of Lake Michigan for cooling. And these data centers need a tremendous amount of cooling. And so they've got a permit for 60 million gallons. The city of Hammond, the Hammond Waterworks pumps about 80 million gallons a day, and they serve 27, 30 communities in Indiana and Illinois. So you're talking about almost the amount of water that Hammond can pump in any given day.
That discharge is like Hot Springs, Arkansas over there, right?
Yeah, I mean,
put a little dome over it and start selling Bud Light or something.
Well, so back in the day when my brother David used to go smelt fishing, and all the guys would, all the smelters, Steve Spebar, the mayor of Whiting, used to go. They used to go to that basically to that location because the hot water would attract the smelt. So.
Does anybody smelt fish anymore?
Boy, I don't know. I don't see them out there. You don't see. Back in the day, that was like a rite of passage.
You would go there at midnight, like any time past 11 till 4 in the morning on any weekend. You thought it was like they were giving away turkeys or something, man.
Yeah.
Packed on those things.
Absolutely, but
guys with their buckets and fish and everything.
I think smelt.
You're lucky you missed that.
Either the attraction, or either the population has diminished or the interest in smelt has gone away. So
yeah, I think that may be part of it.
845-1100 is the number to call. Why don't we go to a quick break? And when we come back, we're going to talk about movies.
Let's hear how your movie went.
Absolutely. So,
hey, Colonel, if you're listening, get ready to call in, brother.
That's right, Colonel. Tony Panic's dad, give us a call. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Morning Call with Tom Dabertin on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. It's the Morning Call Friday edition on WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana. And we're going to go right to traffic because traffic has changed dramatically. In Northwest Indiana, it's not looking too bad. Looks like I-65, some slow-ups, but nothing urgent. But when you get across the line, 8094, the toll road, Klein Avenue, all are okay. When you get across the line into Illinois, 294 is starting to show some backups, but the Bishop Ford is backed up now to 131st. It's heavy all the way through the Ryan to the to downtown, and the Kennedy, the Eisenhower, and the Stevenson are backed up. And folks, we're looking at backups in both directions on some of these roadways. Not seeing it on the Ryan yet, but we're starting to see it on the other roads. So be careful because this is going to be a difficult day for travel. It is a holiday weekend, supposed to be a record number of people traveling. And I'm telling you, just to get around the Chicago area, if you're having to go north or west, you're going to be in trouble today. Again, I-65 looks pretty decent right now, but I'm sure that's going to change as well. Once you get down to around DeMott, you start hitting that two-lane traffic, and it's going to be difficult. So be careful out there. Let's talk about weather, Joe. Where are we at?
All right, so unlike traffic, the weather has not changed at all. It is still
That's
going,
good.
It is still going to be a high of 67 today, some nice football weather for Friday night. And then Saturday and Sunday are going to be much of the same with highs of 74 and 75 and not much clouds. That's the weather for the rest of the week.
And there's not a cloud in the sky right now in the region. And I've told my son this story before, Tom, but back in the day when we were in the old studios, we couldn't see outside. Mm-hmm. So I'd sit there and I'd read the weather and I'd say, oh, it's looking pretty good. Chance of thunderstorms later this morning. And I'll tell the story because you know her. Carolyn Krasinski, Mrs. Krasinski, calls in and says, Tom, I don't know what planet you're on, but there's this horrible thunderstorm. And we couldn't hear it. We couldn't see it. And then we spent the next 4 hours. I was there until noon that day because so many people were without power and there was so many trees down. And I didn't know that there was a storm until Carolyn called and told me. There you go.
Because you're in a bomb shelter with no windows.
Right.
You never been over there?
No, it's a bomb shelter with no windows.
And do you have an unfinished basement that your dad's cardboard over the windows?
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. 845-1100 is the number to call. But we're going to transition the conversation now to movies. And, Tom, you and I went and saw The Naked Gun. The reboot is playing at the Hoosier Theater in downtown Whiting. Great theater, folks. You want to visit one of the most iconic movie theaters in Northwest Indiana. Has an up-to-date projection system, sound system. It's great.
Sound system's gotten he updated that.
It's he put in the surround sound. It's phenomenal. But I thought it was a great, stupid movie.
Oh, I mean, if you appreciate the originals, I mean, Liam Neeson just picks up the torch and runs with it, I thought.
I thought he was great, and I thought Pamela Anderson was very good.
Oh, yeah, Pamela
Anderson did a good job.
She was pleasantly good. She was very good, too. And, I mean, if you have to know what the Naked Gun movies are before you go see that. But
they're not for everyone.
The entire movie is just, you're going to just sit there, laugh, and then whisper under your breath, "That's so stupid."
And Joe, if you want to jump in on this too, have you seen The Naked Gun?
I have not. My dad wants to go watch it. He's a big Naked Gun guy.
Oh, you're missing out. This is a great movie.
It's the combination of slapstick and deadpan humor, and just rapid fire nonstop for 90 minutes.
Yeah, there are lots of stupid scenes. I think one of the funniest is that when Liam Neeson's character goes and he looks on the wall and there's a memorial to his dad.
It's the Hall of Fame, right?
Yes, Leslie Nielsen as Frank Drebin, and they show him and he's kneeling in front of the photo, and then they show Ed, who's kneeling in front of George Kennedy's photo, and then they show this black officer who begins to kneel down in front of O.J. Simpson's picture and goes, "Nah," and just walks away. That is probably the funniest of 1,000 jokes in that movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we
999 bad ones.
Yeah,
But they're good. They're funny.
That's the point, though. That's the
the
point.
So you saw
I'll Pamela Anderson was very good.
Yeah,
she was very good.
And knowing that those two are now dating.
Really?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I
I guess
didn't know that.
they on
That's
the
awesome.
set. That's how they started hooking up.
Right.
for them.
And all this nonsense about Pam Anderson is not wearing makeup and all that. Well, she's wearing makeup and wigs or whatever in that movie. She
But
looks her
she
usual
didn't have
self.
a lot of facial makeup.
She didn't have a lot of facial
Yeah.
makeup, but she
Big red
still
lipstick.
she still looks like the traditional Pam Anderson.
Yeah, but then they accentuated her out in a couple of those scenes, which was
Well,
that
they
was
did.
funny.
Well, yeah,
they
that
did.
was,
Yes,
That was
but-
kind of funny.
But, I will say, I'll tell the joke. I'll get in trouble for it, but I told you this the other day, and you got to tell it. You
Get
got
the
to tell
mute
it.
button ready, brother.
Yes. So I basically, when I mentioned that the movie was playing, I wanted to go see it. Donna said to me, she said, "Well, why don't you wait till Tom comes home because then you can go see it with him." She goes, "I don't really care to see another dumb movie with you." And she says, "But, she goes, it is amazing." She says, Pam Anderson, she said she's not wearing makeup anymore, and Liam Neeson's still attracted to her, and they're dating. And I said, "Yeah, I have a feeling that he's not really looking at the makeup; he's looking from the chin down."
Oh,
so
that's
that was
nice,
the
yeah.
comment, and yes, so there you go. I said it now.
Masochist or whatever you're supposed
Yes,
to be.
so I made the comment, but
And the
I
phone
thought
lines
it's
are
a funny
blowing
movie.
up.
Yes, from Don.
Well, she was in that other movie though about like the dancing girl thing, and it didn't do too well money wise, but it was kind of critically acclaimed because it was like her big comeback or whatever. And then she was on The View and a couple other things. No makeup at all. And I mean, you can tell, man, she wasn't wearing a lot of makeup, but she's still an attractive woman.
She's still an
though.
attractive woman, and
I thought she was good in Naked Gun,
yeah,
but the rest of that
she's actually got more talent as time goes on as far as acting ability. I mean, she really has. I thought she was very good in the movie when she gets up there to sing the blues and just that's hysterical
scatting, yeah.
because
That's
she's-
kind of yeah.
I mean, that's funny. There's a whole bunch of scenes that are just stupid.
Now, she was in that movie she made with Tommy Lee. That did.
Okay, we're
Yeah,
not talking
wait.
about that.
She didn't make any.
Yeah, we're not.
Well, maybe.
Joe, get
well,
ready.
let go, yeah.
There we go. Anyway, 845-1100. So there are some other movies out though that, of course, Mad Mac. You're an aficionado when it comes to.
Yeah,
movies.
I wouldn't go that far, but man, I'll tell you what, there are movies that are just bad right now.
Really?
So I went and saw Honey Don't, which has oh god, I'm gonna blank on these names. Either way, the movie Honey Don't is by the Coen brothers.
Yes.
It's supposed to be like a whodunit mystery. People dropping dead through the whole movie. None of it's ever solved. You don't know what happened to them. But they do. The girl who was in The Office, not The Office, Parks and Rec, whose husband just committed suicide, Aubrey Plaza.
Yes, Aubrey Plaza.
She's in the movie. And the best, not even the best, the dumbest scenes of the whole movie are these two in a lesbian relationship, but a casual one. Literally, they're sitting at a bar, going at it, and this is the whole scene. That's the whole it goes on for like 4 or 5
That's
minutes.
the best part of the movie.
No, it was terrible.
Oh.
It was
I
terrible
was gonna say.
because it contributed nothing, and it was just exploiting like lesbians for like you're making them look like terrible, and the whole thing just Coen brothers. You can't really miss with those guys.
Right, but this is a miss.
Bombs away.
And by the way, you know who?
What's another one? What's their big ones?
Oh,
Coen
it's
brothers?
yeah. They had Oh Brother Art Thou.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
They had an older one about the Irish Mafia, and I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, that was a
I know
good
what you're
movie.
talking
That's
Okay.
it's
a good
way
movie.
way old.
By
But
the
that's
way,
a really good
Seth
movie.
MacFarlane was one of the producers of Naked Gun.
Oh, really?
Yes, so
yeah,
that's-
the creator of Family Guy,
Yes.
American
Yeah.
Dad,
Yep.
Ted, Ted 2.
Yeah.
I went and saw Americana with Sydney Sweeney.
Yes.
Kind of a pretty dumb movie too, but I will say she did good in the part she was playing.
What is that movie about, though? What's the premise?
The premise is that she's a little maybe a tad bit on the slow side, and she wants to become a country singer. No luck in the love life in a little town in the middle of nowhere, and she overhears a conversation about some guys who are going to make a ploy to steal some ancient Indian artifact. I swear to God, this is the plot of the movie. And she tells this guy she meets, hey, you don't have any money and I don't have any money, but if we steal this first, we'll have a lot of money. And it just goes on from there, and it's like they made this up on the fly. Terrible. But she, as an actress, actually did pretty good.
And she's supposed to be like a little slow in this movie.
Yeah. A couple cars missing out the deck.
Anytime I hear that, all I can think is Tropic Thunder.
Oh man, I gotta go see that. I hear so many good things about that. Funny as hell, right?
Oh yeah, it was the older movie.
Yeah, what's his name? Pretending to be a black guy, pretending to be a black guy.
Yeah,
He's a white guy,
Robert
pretending
Downey
to be a black guy. Yeah.
Yeah, won't say the line, but yeah, anyone who knows, they know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, there are some movies that are coming up though that are supposed to be pretty decent. And
there is one that I hope to God it's gonna be good. And I'll tell you 1 second. Sorry for being so slow on the phone. Thank God we've got 8,000 data centers coming online in the next half hour. Okay, Caught Stealing. Now this is with the guy who did the Elvis movie. His name will come up here in 1 second. Austin Butler. The young guy who portrayed Elvis, and then it was critically acclaimed in that. And then they got mad at him because like a year after the movie's already out, man, he's still talking like Elvis.
Yeah, he said he got stuck in it.
Yeah, he said he got stuck in it. Yeah, but he's a real good actor, good-looking kid. But this is a movie about a guy who's asked. He lives looks like the kind of like standard ghetto crap of New York City. Someone says, "Hey, can you watch my cat?" And he says, "Yeah." Well, it turns out this guy's like a freaking drug dealer, heroin dealer.
Good.
Yeah. And then when the bad guys come, because this guy leaves town, they go, "Hey, we're looking for so-and-so." "Oh, yeah, I got his cat right here." And then they try to kill him, and then he's fighting with the Jewish guys on the streets of New York and all that stuff. So it looks like it might be pretty funny.
Yeah, it looked decent.
There's a Prince movie coming out, too, that's going to be on. And then there's also, I think it's Botticelli is going to be in the theater with a couple concerts. There's certain nights, and Jaws is coming back. They're going to have that on the big screen, which could be interesting because it's going to be all enhanced and everything.
And there's another James Bond movie coming out, right?
That one I don't know. I think there's still
that
might be.
who it is yet?
No, that's right. That one hasn't. That's right. That hasn't been announced. But Tom Cruise, of course, has a couple of sequels coming out. So those are supposed to be due out, I think, at Christmas time. 845-1100. We've got a caller, so let's go to the caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Tom Cruise, of course, has a couple of.
Good morning.
Hey,
Hello.
good morning, Tom and Mad Mac.
Good morning.
It's the Colonel. How you doing, brother?
Hey, and the Colonel loved Naked Gun, right?
Of course he did.
Yes, I do. But you know what? Before we get into that, Tom, and Mad Mac, that would be a hell of a law firm name, I would think. I wonder how many people would run there and say, "Hey, either these guys are going to get me off, or I'm going to serve, 20 years in jail." Especially with that Mad Mac name on the end of it,
Yeah, you might be serving 25.
Yeah.
Right. And one more quick thing about pharmaceutical commercials. I don't know if you guys ever seen this on Fox. I mean, it's so ridiculous. We're talking about, ridiculous movies and stuff like that, where supposedly these two doctors says, if you want to save time at the emergency room or any health emergency centers, this is all you need. And they got a kit, and they open it up, and it's a bunch of bottle of pills.
Oh, yeah. They advertise for that on Fox and a whole bunch of places. I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's you're shot, you got a heart attack or whatever. All you need is this. You don't have to go to emergency room. Just pick a bottle of pill and take a pill, and you're saved. I mean,
yeah. What's the name of the doctor? The one doctor that's on that. He's been out there for years. Kind of a television doctor, and
he's like the health guy now.
Well, no, he's
about working
all
out
over the place. But what the Colonel's talking about, where you open up this pack and there's a series of meds there for all kinds of maladies.
Yeah, it's like antibiotics and a couple. And I'm like,
right.
I thought that stuff you had to get a script for. And this stuff you can get right off the internet.
Well, I think you still have to get a script somehow for it. I'm not sure how they're doing it.
Yeah, they don't go into that part of it. But anyway, hey, you know what? I loved Naked Gun. I think as Mad Max told you, I kind of follow Liam Neeson in the past, and his Naked. And you got to know, Tom, that Mad Max always throwing jabs at me about this guy. I like Taken. Hey, Taken 1, Taken 2, Taken 3. It's just the same thing. Only maybe the wife is. Maybe he's got a different wife or something like that,
Well, see, you got to realize with the Colonel though, because the Colonel is not only the Colonel. The Colonel is also Tony Panic's landlord. So down in the basement of the Colonel's house, where Tony lives, he's got about 8,000 movie posters, all of Liam Neeson, all around the basement. Some autographs, some Tony just faked them. He got Phil Patempa to do them. So all this stuff he's got all these autographs in the basement.
So Phil autographed him with
Liam Neeson, and they're all different shapes and sizes. But
that's pretty good.
But the first Liam Neeson movie, I remember talking to the Colonel about it. Great when he rescues his daughter and all that stuff.
The first one was fantastic,
and then every single one after was the same script. They just changed the zip code.
Oh, well, in the last one, his daughter rescues him instead. Yeah, he gets taken, right?
Yeah, because he can't walk.
The next one, his
he's
dog's
going to
save him or something. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, F-15 comes down and picks up the dog, and no one gets hurt. It's like, are you
Taken 1 was
me,
good.
Man?
Taken 2 through 4, I wasn't a fan of either.
2 through 4, they're like on 18 right now.
So Colonel, what would you say is the best part of the best part of Naked Gun?
Well, like I said, I liked all of his movies with the Taken movies. I was very disappointed. I believe it was Absolution where he portrayed, a guy who was, in his Alzheimer's phase, dementia phase. And you know what, Tom? Maybe I'm unlike Mad Max. Maybe a lot of people. It's like me saying, "Hey, I'm going to go to a Sox game tonight," and I'm all excited, but I don't know what the record is. And when I get there, me and 10 other people are there, so. I don't really research a movie.
Wait a minute.
Before I go see
you're
it.
saying, wait a minute, Colonel. You're saying if you went to a Sox game, there'd be 10 people there? That many?
That's
and I'm a Sox fan, but there's no reason to go.
You don't need to know the record. It's bad.
Right? Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if I didn't know, if I was all excited about going, same thing with a movie. It was disappointing. Like I said, when I seen him in. Absolution, but again, then I got to realize he's portraying an actor. It's not necessarily. It was a bad movie as far as I'm concerned because I don't like movies like that. I like the action ones or the comedy ones.
I like ones like the rescue movies.
Now Mad Max. Before I get into my pick, Mad Max always texting me about movies he's seen or he's going to see, or let's say the ones that he's already seen. And he's giving me his opinion on it, So, I tell him back. I said, "Well, thank you for the info. It saves me a few bucks now. I won't go see it."
Well, before you give your pick, I want to ask, Mad Mac, how many movies a year do you see in the theater?
At least like 20, 25 maybe.
Wow, that's good. Wow, that's good.
I enjoy the big screen.
Right, and that's just it. You enjoy the big screen.
Yeah, I like the big screen. The volume, not the it doesn't have to be blaring volume, but it's just like and you stay focused.
There's some movies where it you need to see it on the screen. It just doesn't do it justice at home.
Well, there's the experience too. There's the experience of going to a theater and just sitting there, and you can have popcorn and that stuff at home, but it's not the same.
Yeah, and they ran Casino like about maybe 8 months ago. And that was simply fantastic. It was an incredible. It was to see it again on the big screen. And I think I saw it on the big screen the first time, but that was just unbelievable. And that's why the Jaws coming out. And I think One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is going to come out too. So a lot of these classics.
They're going to do a re-release.
Yeah, to put it back on the big screen, which is nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Colonel, go ahead with your favorite.
Yeah, well, Naked Gun, Tom, I really enjoyed it. I loved it because and like you said, it's good to get out of the house, go to a theater. People say, well, so much for this, so much for that. That's what I enjoy. I think that's what Mad Max enjoys. I don't go too many as maybe he does, but I thought it was a fantastic comical movie. And I didn't come out of there crying like I did the last one.
So So I will just tell you,
Crying of regrets.
Jed and I have talked about this before. We want to do like the WJOB stupid movie marathon. And we're in the
start with
movies.
Naked Gun.
Well, we're in the stupid movies, and we had this idea. Actually, it was funny because Jed and I were laughing one day, and we're like, we'll get this will be something. We'll get Mad Mac involved, and then we find out you don't like stupid movies, and it's like, wait a minute, how can we? This isn't going to work.
So I go to watch Naked Gun. Right, I went the same night you guys went. I look at the thing, you hit your seat. Nobody there but me. I get there about. It's supposed to start at 8. I get there like 8:25 because all the stupid stuff. There's 2 girls sitting right in the middle, about 5 rows up. Kind of bigger, heavy-set girls, whatever. And they each got their gigantic popcorn, 2 gigantic drinks, at least 10 packages of candy. Okay, get in there, boom. Movie starts up like in 3 minutes, and they're looking at me like, "What are you doing here?" 10 minutes later, they're making out with each other. 15 minutes later, they're both laying on each other, snoring. And I'm in the bro behind them, 4 over. And I'm like,
They're
oh, my
stealing
God.
their candy and their popcorn.
So I started eating the one popcorn. They're out. They're out like mackerels. They're not even awake. The guy comes in, for whatever reason, he got the wrong thing to go get a garbage can, the thing. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, didn't mean to interrupt. They kind of shook a little, right back to sleep. The movie was boring me to death. I left with 10 minutes left. I didn't even wait till the end. I couldn't do it.
You missed
But you know what? But you know what, Tom? Unlike Mad Mac, I like stupid movies. So when I seen it, I texted him after that, and because I threw a little BS in there, but it was my opinion. I said, what, Mad Mac, the best movie I ever seen. Man, you got to go see him. Liam Nielsen really knocked it out of the park, this and that. Knowing that when he goes sees it, he's going to say, that damn Colonel, what the hell is he watching, Because I know he would think of the opposite of what I built it up to be in my text, that, hey, man, you got to go see this movie. This is fantastic. You'll love it. And best movie ever, whatever, So Mad Mac, I guess it wasn't to you, since you had more action watching these couples sleeping than I guess.
It was terrible.
The actual movie,
it was terrible.
Colonel, we're gonna. You know what? Maybe we can work with Tony, and we can hold it over at the place that Tony works at. We can hold we can hold the stupid movie marathon.
Or you can just go to Tony's apartment down on the lower level of the Colonel's house, paint the cinder block wall white, and put it right on there. Save yourself some money.
That could work. That could work
go back
as
to
well.
the bomb shelter.
I think if you showed Airplane, Christmas Vacation, one of the original Naked Guns, you throw a few others in there. That the few that I won't even describe on the air that you could put in there, and you could have a great time. It'd be a great weekend.
So here, I'll give you a real quick one. Hey, Colonel, listen to this one. There's a movie coming out called The Threesome, and of course on the movie poster, whatever, it's a man and 2 women, younger kids, like Tom's age here, and you're thinking, oh, what could that be, right? And it's kind of what you think right in the beginning. Guy meets one girl. He's trying to get her to go out, and she's resistant. And then he sits at his buddy says, listen, this other girl comes in, go sit at her table, and the girl you want will see that because she works here, and she'll be all over you then. He goes and sits with this other girl and then actually goes out on a date with her. And then this other girl.
What porn site did you find?
No, this is going to be in a theater. And
it's the same one with the
and I bet it's only
Tommy
PG.
Lee, Nick, Pamela Anderson.
I bet it's only PG, but what happens is they do have a little 3-way tryst, and both girls end up pregnant. Now, I'm not saying that's when the fun starts, but at least from what the reviews show, it goes through all the things that this guy and all these 3 women and the families are going through of like, wow, now we got 2 babies. And, it's like, what do we do and how do we maneuver and who am I in love with and all the human emotions that would be involved with that. I mean, it actually looks pretty intriguing.
Yeah. So Colonel, you and I, you and I will go see the next reboot.
I bet you like it.
I'm
hoping. I don't know. I'm rooting for it only because it seems like not the threesome part, but the human interactions of the families on wow, what do we do now? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got a lot of goofy slapstick jokes in it, like you guys would appreciate.
Okay.
Well, you know what, Tom? The whole movie kept me in stitches. The whole thing. It did not disappoint. You know, I mean, and the goofy part too was when they kept handing him a cup of coffee just out of nowhere.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
That was the best bit.
And there was
see
the
him,
Chuck.
all you see him is getting a cup of coffee. You don't see nobody give it to him. You know, we're driving or whatever. You know, and
There's also the reoccurring joke for Chuck Pullen, since he doesn't like bike paths. There's the bicyclist that keeps on getting hit by Drebin. And at one point he says we got to clean the street up because you hear the bicyclist. He goes, "No, not again!"
Yeah.
And he runs him over. And yes, so that's the joke for Chuck Pullen.
yeah, in the Hall of Fame too. But how about Tom Jr.? What I mean, he didn't get. I mean, is he like you and me, Tom, with these? But he likes kind of
Oh yeah,
foolishness,
no, I love
movies.
I love a good
Stupid
movie, slapstick humor, and like I said, I thought Liam Neeson. You know, at first I was like, really, that guy, and then he just absolutely crushed it. I think he was the perfect cast for that role.
So there's you, me, and your dad, as opposed to Mad Max. So I guess
Yeah, I'm out. You threw out of Three
either we're
Stooges,
right or
man.
Mad Max is wrong, right?
That's right. But in Mad Mac's mind, he's never wrong. So you'll never win that argument anyway. But and again, I'll just mention we saw it at the Hoosier Theater in Whiting. And I know, Colonel, you've been there before. It's a beautiful,
it's a beautiful facility. Yeah,
beautiful facility. Seats about 600 people. It's the last vaudeville theater left. And this thing, I mean, Mad Mac it's huge.
Well, I saw Jim Petrick in there one night.
Yeah, and it's
that was really
good.
good.
Oh yes, yeah, and it's a great theater though, and modern sound system, modern projection system, and I mean, just really great evening. So they're showing it 7:30 this evening, 7:30 all through the weekend, and then next week they're just going to show it next weekend. Because it'll be a second week. So when they run it second week, they just show it on the weekends. But great movie to see. Great place to go as well. So
yeah, I think I agree with you on both of that. And like I said, don't go by Mad Max views or opinions because it's
it's not. I mean, if you guys love it, man, do it.
So we're going to go to a commercial break. Thanks for calling, Colonel. When we go to a commercial break, we come back. We're going to be joined by Peter Kurkowski. We're going to talk about football. So keep it tuned right here. We are I'm actually going to hold on for about 30 seconds, Joe, so that I get it right this time. We're coming up on it. I'm going to get the station identification right at 8 o'clock this morning. So we're going to come back. We're going to talk about football. We'll talk about high school football and all the great things with JED TV. And all the games you can see, and we'll also probably talk a little bit about college football because this is a kickoff. So, Joe, you're going to jump in on this as well, and we'll do traffic and weather. But here we go. You are listening to WJOB 1230 M, 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana. We're going to be right back with the Morning Call Friday edition. All right, we're back, and we're going to switch gears to talk football in just a minute. But first, let's go to traffic and weather. Traffic starting to back up just about everywhere. Northwest Indiana is still looking fairly good, although it looks like you're starting to see some slowdowns on I-65. Toll road's okay. Klein Avenue showing some backup north of 8094. Going over the line, though, into Illinois. Bishop Ford's backing up right around Lake Calumet. The Skyway's okay. The Dan Ryan's backed up. The Stevenson, the Eisenhower, the Kennedy, and now 294. So, folks, it is a travel day, holiday weekend. You're going to encounter a lot of traffic. Take your time. Listen to the radio. Listen to WJOB. That's what you want to do. Sit back, relax, listen to us, because you're not going to get anywhere very quickly. And that's the story of the day when it comes to traffic. Weather, Joe?
All right. So the weather is going to look beautiful today with a high of 67. We may have some high winds later in the afternoon around 4, around 10 to 20 miles per hour. But for the rest of the day, it's mostly sunny and not so humid. And then as for Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be much the same, with high of 74 on Saturday and a high of 75 on Sunday with not many clouds. And that's your weather.
All right. 845-1100 is the number to call. But we've got Peter Krakowski from Jed TV Sports is here. And, Peter, we've got a lineup on Jed TV that's just amazing.
Yeah, we had 8 games last week. We're going to get another 8 games I think it's actually 7 games, excuse me. 7 games this week, so 1 less. But either way, it's 6 games tonight. Joe, I sent you the graphic if you want to go ahead and throw that up. But there's 3 games that are in partnership with Regional Radio Sports Network. 3 we're producing ourselves. We'll start with, the 3 we're doing ourselves. 6:30 tonight, that's the first kickoff. Bishop Chittard, that's a powerhouse from down by Indianapolis. They're coming up to take on Hanover Central. Hanover's a weird team. They graduated a lot, lost Caden Verrett, lost some other guys. And it's going to be interesting to see how they do in the NCC this year. Feels like they might have taken a step back. Obviously going to be highly tested tonight with Bishop Chittard coming up.
And Tom, wasn't Chittard over by your old home in
Broad Ripple?
Broad Ripple.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
right
and if you've seen their facilities, Peter, it's pretty amazing.
I haven't seen theirs, but if they're anything like half the facilities I see in Indianapolis, I'm sure
they're
top notch.
Yeah, Indy's got some pretty nice high school sports teams going.
Yeah. Out towards Boone Grove, which is out, that's rural Valparaiso. South Central's coming over. This one's interesting because these are 2 teams that are in the Porter County Conference for basketball and for other sports, and they also are the 2 only Porter County Conference teams that have football teams. So they play in separate conferences for that. Boone Grove's in the GSSC. So South Central, they got beat pretty good last week. They'll be taking on Boone Grove. That's one that Boone's going to probably be heavily favored in, but, anything can happen. Probably our game of the night that we're doing is Munster and Griffith. Munster lost a tough game to Lake Central on Friday, but Munster actually looked pretty good in that game for a long time. Lake Central ended up turning to a kid to play quarterback that's going to Air Force. He's committed there. Wow. I don't know why he didn't start at quarterback in the game, but LC definitely found their guy that should be their quarterback for the rest of the year. Might be one of the better ones in the region. It's a true dual threat guy. But either way, Munster tonight trying to bounce back. They'll take on Griffith, who had a big win over Highland last week in the Battle of the Bike Path. Griffith having their home opener. Now the 3 that RRSN are doing for us. Hobart's going to Portage. That's going to be a really good game too. Hobart beat Chesterton 20-3 last week. And, Hobart's a team that they're always one of the better ones in the region, right? Maybe not, they're 4A, so they're not, they're your Crown Points or your Maryvilles, but in that next tier down there, right there in 4A, which is wide open, by the way, this year, as it has been for the last couple of years across the state of Indiana. Hobart might have a really good team. They'll take on Portage, who they're struggling right now. Obviously, the thing with Roy Richards, he got let go a few months before the season started. I think some players and coaches might have left with him.
The former coach of Morton, right?
The former Morton coach,
yes.
Yeah. He was over at Portage, and he was trying to build that thing back up. And, they added some stuff, and, they had to issue a statement, and Roy was let go a few months ago. So they're struggling right now.
Was Hobart supposed to beat Chesterton, or was that supposed to be a closer game?
I thought it was supposed to be a closer game. Just my opinion on it. Obviously, it wasn't. Chesterton has a good running back, but I do know they lost quite a bit last year, too.
I heard that. I was listening to it on the radio, and the announcers made it seem like, boy, when is Chesterton going to make their move in this game? They never did.
Yeah, no, it was all credit to Hobart. I mean, their defense looked really good. Yeah. And Hobart scored all those points pretty much in the first half. I think it was 20-3, or maybe 20-0 at halftime. LaPorte and Lowell, this is one. Lowell, obviously, they got Casey McKim over from New Prairie to lead them into the future. This is his first year there. They didn't look very good last week, but Crown Point makes a lot of teams not look very good. So Lowell's going to try to bounce back this weekend home against LaPorte, who I talked about Lake Central finding a quarterback. LaPorte had a kid play last week, and they looked really good and actually beat New Prairie. So that could be a sleeper game of the night as well down on Route 2. Wheeler travels to Kankakee Valley. KV lost a heartbreaker last week in overtime to their arch rival, Rensselaer Central. They're looking to bounce back against Nick Testa and Wheeler. Wheeler had a really nice team last year. I mean, the talk of the region was Griffith, right? In the GSSC. Well, Wheeler walked right into the Boneyard and beat Griffith pretty good last year. So Wheeler's a team that doesn't really get all the praise around the region, but a team that can very well make a pretty decent run. And I think the problem with them is they have Andrean blocking them.
I still remember a particular game against Wheeler versus Whiting. Tom, when you played, and actually thinking about a comment from Pat back in the day, that was. I mean, Wheeler's always been tough. They've always been tough, and there's no doubt about it.
And then obviously the highlight of the weekend actually takes place tomorrow night. It's Bishop Lures traveling over from Fort Wayne to take on Andrean. It's our game of the week. It's our first ever on-campus pregame show, which is actually called Friday Night Kickoff, but tomorrow it'll be Saturday Night Kickoff, presented by the Central Midwest Carpenters. And that's one that, Andrean, they got beat pretty good last week too, but they took on a Maryville team that could very well win state in 5A. Andrean, people have to remember, you're a smaller school. So and
one of the announcers for the
anybody good hosting that thing?
Yeah, Game Day Live. Who would that be?
I don't know.
Any former athletes hosting that game?
Sure. Yeah, maybe a former alumni, but it's going to be a great time. I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little nervous for my boys down in Broadway, but it should be a good game, and it's going to be a great pregame show, and I'm super excited.
I mean, think about it. I mean, Mad Mac, Tom, this idea of doing these Game Day Live, this is phenomenal, isn't it?
So all I have to do is go to jedtv.com and it'll pull it up? Or
No, you go to the Andrean parking lot.
Yeah, well,
right. But
hold my sign in the background.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But
big head of your father sitting up there.
But I mean, still, it's a phenomenal.
It's
a
great
phenomenal
idea.
Yeah, we're trying to really create. I mean, obviously the one everybody talks about is ESPN's College Game Day, right? It's Saturday morning, you wake up, you put it on, and it goes right into your 11 a.m. kickoffs. And if you're a college football fan, that's kind of just become tradition for you in the fall. So years ago, I mean, I had the idea of trying to recreate this. We just didn't really have the means to do it. And as we expand, it was something that was getting closer and closer. Andrean actually reached out to us a couple weeks ago. They had the idea. They said, hey, guys, we're having this tailgate show. It's our CYO night. Why don't you guys come, or tailgate experience, excuse me. It's our CYO night. Why don't you guys come and do a pregame show? And I go, okay, well, if we're going to do this, this is the time to do it, right? So I tried putting it together, and, one thing I wanted to do was to have a nice set. Like you see College Game Day, they got the nice curved table, but those things cost anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000.
Wow.
Not exactly in our budget right now at Jed TV. So I thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute. We're partnered with the Central Midwest Carpenters. Maybe it would be a cool thing to come together with them and have them build something for us, and then they could, if you see ESPN College Game Day, it's built by Home Depot. They got their logo and signage everywhere. I said, if you guys can pull this off, it'll be built by Central Midwest Carpenters. You can have your logo and signage everywhere. They love the idea. So they're in the middle of building us our set right now. I don't know if it's going to be ready for tomorrow. It will be ready for week 3, which I can't announce yet. We're going to announce that over the weekend. But there is a week 3.
What's amazing is that you came up with the idea. You told me about this a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And I think it was like 2 days later I saw you and you're like, now we've got Game Day Live 3 already booked. So
amazing. And I was just thinking on the way over, we got to find somewhere to go for week 4 too. So I just wanted to get through this first one. It's like I told everybody at Andrean, I guess it's the first time doing it. So if we fail, feel honored that we are going to fail here.
We are
think about it for a minute. You're creating this atmosphere. For high school students and for fans, I mean, to have that atmosphere and to have that program, I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one thing that we've been doing too, Speaking of the Central Midwest Carpenters, is last year I had this idea. So I'm a huge Oklahoma football fan, and they put something out every Saturday morning. It's called their Scene Setter video, where their radio play-by-play guy, Toby Rowland, it's just a video unique to whoever they're playing that week, a hype video just to get you ready for the day. I said we should do something like that for our game of the week. So we've been doing it last year. It's usually Sam or I that narrate it. This week we're going to have Sam narrate for Andrean Bishop Lures, and I had an idea. I go, there's a famous Andrean former athlete that's playing just about 70 miles away. He's got a big game this weekend down in Miami. I'm talking about Drake Bowen. I said, how cool would it be if we could get him to narrate this? But I'm sure he's busy. I reached out to Coach Skinner. I said, you think this is a possibility? He said, I can for sure ask. So, we get to last night. The video was actually already done. Sam made it. And all of a sudden, about 8:30 last night, I get an email, and it was from Coach Skinner. It said Drake Bowen audio.
Wow.
So Drake actually narrated this, and that'll be in our Scene Setter that drops tomorrow morning.
Very cool.
Wow. Very cool. I mean, again, 7 games tonight. Okay, so you can people still don't totally understand this concept. I mean, this is kind of like the ESPN of high school football.
That's phenomenal. That I could just watch whatever game, whatever.
The funny thing is that you're
So
talking
you
about
switch
you
the
thought
games?
about this years ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, I started calling games here 10 years ago now.
But Jimmy, yesterday on the Thursday show, he took credit for the whole thing. He said he invented it.
Oh, always, yeah. No, you have to deal with that. You know what you're getting with Jed.
Oh,
and Jed, I will give him his. I'll give him his flowers. What he built here before I got here was really cool. During COVID, you got the COVID money. You could do it. You could do other things with it, or you can build a TV sports network. And whoever's idea it was, him, Sam, Ben Tamara was here at the time. Ben Cohort, who's back with us now. They got it done, and now it's time to really take it to the next level and to get people to buy in, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and I mean, again, if you had told me 22 years ago when he bought the station that you'd have Jed TV, I would have just started laughing, okay? Because, I mean, he bought an old, decrepit station, and, which the studios are still there. And, again, I've mentioned before on the air, I want to do a series of podcasts about the history of the station, which is pretty amazing. But he branched off into Jed TV, and I think there were a lot of people, Mad Mac, you're a regular, you had to wonder, like, where's this going, right? And then all of a sudden now it makes total sense that you can sit there and you can pull up, 7 different games tonight. You have your choice. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
Yeah, and hopefully more soon. We're always talking about acquiring new schools. The one thing we didn't want to do is expand too quickly, because we want to make sure that we give every school an equal shot at showcasing them and making sure their games are done. If you got to half do something, you might as well not do it at all. We want to make sure that we give everybody the best quality possible. So we're trying to get it right this year with the NCC and the PCC, both Hammond schools and Griffith, but there is talk of expansion in the future, and we hope to be doing that sooner rather than later.
I think the Game Day Live will be a massive hit.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that's huge.
So are all those game days going to be on Saturday or some on Friday nights too, or it depends on what you can make it, what can work?
So here's the thing. I would prefer, as big of a college football fan I am, and it would take away from my college football Saturday, I would prefer to have each school be like, look, we can look at this before the season. We know this is going to be a pretty good game. Let's go ahead and flex this one this Saturday. Just as a one-off. We're not going to ask you to do this every week. Let's do it as a one-off. Some schools, though, they're like, look, we know we're going to pack the place in on Friday, so we want to keep it all Friday. I don't want to move it to Saturday. I'm on the other side of that, saying like, well, if there's a standalone game, I mean, from White and Clark.
Yeah.
Everybody in the region went to that because they all played on Friday.
Right.
So I think that you would get a lot of teams coming out to the game, and, that would make up for some lost Friday night attendance you would have there. And I think another thing that might push it in that direction anyway is there is a big-time short of officials in the IHSAA for football. So with that shortage, if it continues to trend the way it is, I think they're going to be forced to move some games to Saturday anyway. But for now, this is the only standalone game that we have on Saturday this year. Where we're going next week, that'll be a Friday night game. The way that'll work, instead of going from 3 to 5 with a 6 o'clock kickoff, it's going to be from 5 to 7 and roll right in the kickoff. Similar to what you see on ESPN.
That's at Griffith, right?
I'm not saying that yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, Jimmy mentioned
I'm not saying that. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is.
Keep up.
Maybe it was already announced on this show. I don't know. I tell people don't
Not
say
on mine.
anything.
On
yeah, no, not on your show.
not on my show.
We're not going to blame you.
D-Lo.
We're not
Okay,
going to.
yeah.
No, nothing has been announced yet. That'll probably come out. I want to get through tomorrow. It'll be announced tomorrow night or Sunday.
So is the Saturday games, is the idea to have them like mid-afternoon or night games, or what's
It would depend. I don't know. I don't know how that would look. I mean, because we did talk about that too. We said, look, it doesn't necessarily have to be a night game. You can play it during the. Now I'm a traditionalist. I'm a big fan of the Friday night lights for high school.
That's what
Friday's
I'm
high
wondering.
school's day. Saturday is college, and Sunday's NFL. I know Illinois does it a bit differently. I knew they do quite a bit of games on Saturday afternoons over there.
Mm-hmm.
And, with everything changing anyway, I talk about this with baseball. Like, if you're going to change all these things, you might as well do this one because this one makes sense.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
We'll see what happens over the next several years. But, we're flexible enough to where we can still make it work on Friday.
But yeah, Saturday would be fun, though, because then, the students can come out and have a little big tailgate. And
Right.
kind of have a pretty much pepper rally there.
Yeah,
So,
that's what we tell
that'd
these
be fun.
guys. Lean into it. We'll try to come if it's your homecoming, or we'll try to come if it's your tailgate party. But if it's just a regular game, you don't have anything going on. Maybe it's an alumni night or something that you just use to fill.
Yeah.
Then do it big. Try. We'll bring the party, but you guys also help out and do everything. So
good.
So let's spend a quick minute talking about the kickoff to college football.
Yeah.
Because college football. Let's face it, this weekend is it. Some big games. Tom, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, Miami on Sunday. We had what? It was Texas,
Texas
Ohio
at
State.
Ohio
Texas
State.
and Ohio State's at 11 a.m. Which
Clemson and LSU.
And then
That-
LSU, Clemson, and tomorrow night. Yeah.
I was going to say, just want to get your guys' thoughts because I'm in the camp, and I get why Fox does it because they want to be they want to have the big game in a time slot. You don't want to go up against whatever ESPN's doing at night. But to put your biggest game, and this is 1 versus 3, and we're playing it at 11 a.m. I mean, that's not fair to the fans at Ohio State. You got to tell them they got to get there at 6 to tailgate.
But do we want to be fair to the fans at Ohio State?
No, and I'm by no means an Ohio State fan.
Yeah.
I don't wanna
Actually,
take
let's
up
have
a-
it at 8 a.m.,
Right?
Well, but
Yeah, they'll all be out on probation by Friday night. They'll make the game. Don't worry, they'll all be there.
Yeah.
it's cashless bail in
Everybody
in
will be
Ohio.
bonded out by then. They'll have at least a couple hours sleep.
Yeah.
No, that's
they'll
going to
good
be a
go.
big game. There's no doubt about
That's
it.
big. LSU Clemson, which, a lot of times week 1, they have these big matchups, the top 10, top 25 matchups, and they play them in Atlanta or a neutral site. And I'm not a fan of neutral site games in college football.
No.
The only one that I am, to be honest with you, I'm a huge Oklahoma fan, so OU Texas I think is the exception because they play it at the State Fair in Dallas. There's nothing like it.
If there's a tradition behind
Yeah,
it, then
they
that's
split
different.
it right down the 50. Both fan bases like it, so I like that. But I don't like the idea of going to these NFL stadiums, and it just takes away the atmosphere, in my
I
opinion.
agree.
But
Especially for the students, and I'm with you on that.
Yeah, you can't beat the crowds at a college game.
No,
I mean,
it's electric. It's a total different ball game than going to an NFL stadium.
By the way, if Clemson beats up on LSU, is this Brian Kelly's last year?
I hope so.
There you go.
Not a fan.
I heard guys saying it's could be his last game.
Well, he'll move somewhere else and get
yeah,
another
I mean,
fake
if
accent.
they have to at minimum make the playoff this year.
Yeah.
In order for him to stick around.
Yeah, I mean,
LSU that's a program that has to be good.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
too
tough
big of a
though.
type.
In the SEC now, it's really going to be interesting, and I get why everybody's there. If you want to make money, that's the conference to go to. But I think from an Oklahoma perspective, I'm like, man, if we had just stayed in the Big 12, at worst, if you got a good team, you're going to lose 2 games, and you're probably going to make the playoff now with the expanded format.
Yeah.
Now you go to the SEC, and you're not going to run the table there. So even if you have a really good team, you're going to lose 2 or 3 games.
True. Although,
but your recruiting potential in the SEC is so much
it
better
is a
than-
lot higher. You're right, and everything that comes with it, like I said, the money, the revenue split and everything.
Yeah.
So I see why they did it, and I mean I'm excited too, just for the other sports. Like I'm not just an OU football fan. I unfortunately like the basketball team, and I like the baseball and softball. And baseball and softball in the SEC is as good as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Although, the other conference, of course, is the Big Ten. I mean,
Yeah.
the Big Ten and the top 25. I'm taking a look.
Big
I mean,
25,
they've got an awful lot of presence, no doubt about it, with Penn State at the top. So
Where's Purdue? Are they up in the top?
yeah, no,
top
yeah, we're not.
2,500?
Top 2,000.
Jed's been telling me he thinks they're going to be good this year. I go, they can't be worse.
Yeah, well,
By
Jed-
good, he means like 500, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Jed largely says that
No
because of his
chance.
dad. I mean, that's
Right.
just a that's just a nod to his dad that they're going to be good. I don't think so.
So is IU going to be able to do it again?
Well, I was going to say that's going to be really interesting to see what Indiana does this year. Last year they took. I mean, I'll say it straight. They took advantage of a very weak schedule, but they did what they were supposed to do. They beat everybody that was on it for the most part, with the exception of Ohio State, and they did enough to get into the playoff. And then they made that Notre Dame game not look as bad as it maybe was with the score. I mean, that's one thing that he does well. He's good at making the score not look that bad. Same thing with the Ohio State game. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they can do this year. Now their quarterback, I saw something. I don't know if it was CBS's early rankings, but Indiana's quarterback is projected to go first overall in the NFL draft.
He's the kid from Cal, right?
Yeah, Joe, you were talking about.
Yes, he's from Miami originally. Like didn't go there, but gets where he's from. I think he's half Cuban, and he ended up going out to Cal, and now he's transferring because I think they were talking about him potentially going to the U at Miami. He decides to come to Indiana.
And I think he's got a brother on the team too, right?
Possibly. I'm not 100%.
Joe, you knew quite a bit about his background, right?
Yeah. I mean, everything about that was true. He came out of Cal. He's the #1 transfer quarterback in the portal. He's got a younger brother that goes there right now. I think he fits Kurt Cignetti's scheme really well. I think he reminds me a lot of what's his name, Rourke, the guy who transferred in before him from Ohio and is now on the 49ers. So I think that they'll be all right. I think that there are a couple games that they'll drop that they should have or that they won last year, like maybe Washington or like Michigan. I don't think that they'll be either of those two teams. So I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I think they'll be all right. They won't be terrible.
Hey, since you've been watching this stuff like all your life, do you think they should have taken the national championship away from Michigan? I mean, are they kidding with that? It's like the tranny drug stuff. It doesn't even matter. Just do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. I think
cheat, steal, whatever. Yeah, you win the trophy, take it. We're good.
Here's the thing. Like when Reggie Bush got his Heisman stripped from him because he took a couple illegal benefits. I think
a couple?
Well, I think that's ridiculous.
His parents lived in a house the size of this building.
I think that's ridiculous because that didn't really give him anything to have a competitive advantage on the field. The Michigan situation, they were literally stealing signs, which, again, is part of a game. That's going to happen. When it happened with the Astros in baseball, that's something that's been happening for a long time, but the Astros took it to another level. With this,
and
Michigan,
they got caught.
Right. With Michigan, I mean, they had him literally the guy that was assigned to basically decipher the opponent's signals. He was going
dressed
to
as
games.
Groucho Marx on the sideline.
He was right. He was standing on the sidelines, and that gave Michigan a competitive advantage. So, yes, I probably agree that it should be stripped. But with that being said, if I'm a Michigan fan, you're not going to erase those memories from me. We won the national championship that year.
Sure, you did,
and it was electric as a Michigan
with an asterisk.
fan.
Yeah.
There's no asterisk.
I don't know if it would bother me as a fan because I saw it, whatever. But yeah, I mean, for just somebody that's a college football fan, I thought that was pretty ridiculous, and they should probably have that stripped from them.
I mean, it's kind of a clear sign of Jim Harbaugh got out of town before any sanctions came in.
Exactly.
That, okay, this was actually bad. If it wasn't that bad, he would have stuck around because you won the national championship, you're this hero, and he got out of town before anything bad could happen to him. So I think that's kind of tells you how bad.
Yeah, I thought it was the same thing with the Astros. You got the videotape.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on in the stadium other than a guy in the dugout beating on the side of a drum.
Mm-hmm.
Hello? and then they win the World Series, and here's your rings, guys. Good luck. No big deal.
Well, I mean, cheating in sports has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
You can tell
but when you get caught.
And especially how you're doing it with this new modern technology.
Yeah.
It's going to be something that they have to combat. I mean, at least I would have liked them to strip the Astros of that, and I would like them to strip Michigan because I think then you have to set an example right away. We're getting into this era with new technology. Now with AI, I mean, the possibilities are endless, right? Mm-hmm. So I think you have to make an example, unfortunately, out of these two cases and really put the hammer down to try to stop that in the future.
Well, the only thing I'll give credit to Michigan for is at least he went retro and old school. Fake mustache, different hat. Had the guy walking in with a limp or a half a leg. Looked like he was coming out of like the movie with what's his name, Tom Hanks. Whatever, with the fake leg and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm like, oh my god, are they kidding with this?
I know you were talking about movies earlier. So there's a Netflix documentary on that. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's really good.
On Michigan?
It's
Oh,
Is the
really?
side on the whole
seen
sign
it.
stealing
in
thing.
Michigan? Really?
It's really good. Yeah.
Oh,
I
wow.
haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I recommend it.
Yeah, you can tell when a scandal is ticky tacky and it doesn't really matter because we end up talking about it for months. That was like Deflategate. When it's
Right.
something that's system, throughout the whole teams, throughout the whole conferences, it just goes quiet right away. Goes away.
Yeah.
So that kind of tells you how bad sign stealing was.
Yeah.
Because it just went away. No, it wasn't on ESPN for 6 months. We didn't talk about it. It just poof.
Yeah. I
Again,
agree.
folks, don't forget, we're in this segment. We're going to take a break, but don't forget, Jed TV, you've got 7 games. You tune in. I mean, it's just phenomenal coverage. I mentioned before, the quality is just as good as any professional organization. You got to tune in. Great opportunity starting this evening at 7:00.
6:30.
6:30. I'm sorry, it's 6:30 on Jet TV.
Chatard's got a long drive, so
That's right.
they're leaving school early and they want to get home a little bit earlier, so they're coming up. That starts at 6:30. Everything else is at 7, and then obviously Andrew Ann tomorrow pregame at 3, kickoff at 6.
All right, and you're listening to WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana. You're listening to the Morning Call Friday edition. We'll be right back after these commercial announcements. All right, folks, we are back, and we are in our last few minutes of the morning call, Friday edition. And sitting in with me this morning, Tom Dabertin Jr.
Hello.
And Mad Mac. And we've been talking about all kinds of things. I got to bring this up, though. I had a point made, which was Dave Gurman. Dave Gurman says he's totally in favor of nuclear power and the small modular reactors. So just want to throw that out because there's another time you and Dave from Gary are agreeing.
I'm going to go to his house. We're going to make out tonight. How'll that be?
Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. There we go.
Caramba.
Yeah. So, so with that, I don't know where I'm going now. I mean, you didn't have to. I thought it was great that you and Dave Gurman are agreeing on something else, and then you had to just pollute the whole.
I'm all geared up for college football. I can't. Those are going to be good games.
Yeah, I'm geared up for Jed TV, though. I'll tell you what. I think this idea of high school football and having it available for all the people that can't go to the games, okay, and to me is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the parents, the grandparents, the uncles, the aunts, I mean, they can watch it. I mean, okay, when you played, for example, my brother Peter, Uncle Peter came, and he'd come to your games, all right? And, Mark, he couldn't. He came to one.
Mm-hmm.
And if they could have watched your games, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean, what a great deal.
It's a great idea.
I mean, what a great deal to be able to watch high school sports as if it were college football.
Especially, some of these the big games, like seeing Chittard come up and play. Who I can't remember.
Andrean.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to be. That's
Is
really
that who they
cool.
play tomorrow?
Chittard
plays, Hanover
today.
Hanover. That's
Bishop
Chittard,
Lord.
And then Munster Griffith. I mean, being able to have both those games at your fingertips and be able to watch them. That's very cool.
And for free. Yeah, that's
free.
right. I forgot.
Yes.
Yeah, Chittard is today, and then Lures is tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Wait, are you supposed to tell them to download the Jet app?
Yeah, you have
How
to
do you get
download.
this?
You have to download the Jed TV app. You can get it off of Roku. You can get it off of your smart TV. You can download it on your phones, but you got to download the app to be able to do this.
But is it on the App Store, or do you got to go?
It's on the App Store.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on the App Store.
I remember because he wasn't going to do that, then he was.
No, it's on the App Store, but again, I know
And then he's
I've
going
got
to
it
list
home.
the games, and you just click what game you want to watch?
Yes,
All
yeah,
right, wow.
yeah, which is, phenomenal. Just a phenomenal way to. It's a whole new dimension and a whole new experience, and although he's probably listening and he'll probably hear me say this, but I say
He's
truly,
probably on his eighth gummy now.
It's like Jed is Elon Musk. When it comes to
time out.
Yes. Okay, there we go.
Let's not go too far.
I mean, but it's a great concept. But then he's got people like Peter and Sam Michael who can take this thing to fruition.
Well, I will admit this, that with him, Jimmy, all the goofy technology that fails every morning, all the time, on the football and basketball stuff, it's almost seamless and not to say flawless, but they don't make too many mistakes on this stuff.
And the quality
on
is
the
so
Jet
good.
TV, on the athletics.
And again, people don't realize. I mean, it's not like I had somebody say to me, "Well, I don't know if I'm going to watch." What about the quality? I'm like, quality? What are you kidding, man? This quality is as good as ESPN.
Oh, crystal clear, man.
It's crystal clear. It's
clear.
amazing. Yeah. I mean, it is truly amazing. It's a great way to kick off high school sports, and then of course it's exciting because there's college football this weekend and some great games. So it'll be a good weekend. Lots of stuff going on in the region too.
So you probably appreciate this being a high school football player. I used to when probably when I was doing this, like maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago, whatever, I would go to some of these games. D-Lo would send me a text and go, "Hey, if you're around there, you want to stop by that game?" And if I did or didn't, but if I was listening on the radio and the game was tight, if I was not doing something, I'd run to that game.
Oh, wow.
And I went to the Hobart game one time, and it was like Hobart versus somebody, and the score was like 90-90. 20 seconds left, and the guy, and I'm standing literally on the corner of the end zone. Guy catches the ball, but he's out of bounds. He literally landed right at my feet. And I'm trying to comment on the plays, and I didn't know the number of the guy and stuff like this. And Jed sends me a text. He goes, "Hey, dummy, just fake it. No one will know. We're not on TV." And I'm like, oh my, And we had a conversation about that on the radio and stuff. He's like, just anything, just keep up with it. And I'm like, well, I'm like 3 plays behind. He goes, nobody knows you're on radio. They can't see anything, And so we were, he's like, don't worry about it. And then I find out he gets to a game like 10 minutes late, right? And he just starts making up stuff and commentating on plays while the game is actually going, and then he catches up.
Yeah, well, and he always
were just classics.
Well, and he always talks about when he'd do the games with Rick Mossels, and they'd be doing the Whiting games, and he'd be in the booth, and he'd say, what do you think, Rick? And there somebody'd run in for a touchdown. Yeah, fine, but 7 trains. He count the number of trains, which was hilarious. 845-1100, if you've got any comments about anything we've talked about today. Again, a lot of things going on in the region. I want to recap that. So the Rock and Rail Festival in downtown Griffith is today, tomorrow, and Sunday.
Yep.
And lots of tribute bands, lots of food, lots of fun. Really a great time.
Yeah, tonight's is, I think it's Rolling Stones and Ron Stewart at 10 o'clock.
And you're pretty much out there the whole time.
Well, it depends. I mean, I try to go see what I can see, but I have to tell you, I mean, over the last 7-8 years, the quality level of the bands has just got. I have people who I've seen over 1,000 concerts. They'll fly to Vegas to see Aerosmith. You go here, go there, and I used to do a lot of that stuff back in the day. And a lot of my buddies, they're like, "No, we're not paying that anymore. We'll just wait for Rock and Rail." Like the band last night, and they had this guy. What the hell did I say his name was? The guy with the white hat, the big country guy.
Garth Brooks.
Garth Brooks, yeah. They had this guy play last year.
I thought it was a Marlboro Man.
No, bro. You back off.
No, that was the cowboy walking past.
Oh, that was the cowboy.
That was a cowboy going by, and he's on tape. I'm telling you. But last year they had the Garth Brooks guy there, and people were like, Garth Brooks. It was fantastic. And so then they brought him back and put him on the main stage last night. Everybody knows the words. They got their cowboy hats, cheering and everything. And these guys were fantastic. They had a guitar player on there. That guy could step into any band anywhere. He was magnificent. And they just did a great job.
So you've got Rock and Rail, then you've got the last concert of the season at Whiting Lakefront Park that Sunday evening. The
symphony,
Whiting
right?
Symphony Orchestra, and there's fireworks at the end. So that's kind of a tradition. There's the Labor Day parade down in Lowell, which is one of the oldest parades actually in the state of Indiana. So there's a lot going on this weekend, and again, enjoy the weekend because again, you've got high school football tonight. There's plenty of games. You don't have to go very far. You can watch it right on your television, but you can also go actually and support the team if you want. There's plenty of games to go to. So it's an exciting weekend overall.
Yeah, here's a quick, I got the schedule there finally. My bad for that. So tonight they'll have a Billy Joel tribute. They have Kashmir at 6, Billy Joel at 8.
So Kashmir is
Led Zeppelin.
Oh, I've seen them before. Yep. They're good.
Yes.
Yeah, they're very good. And then at the 10 o'clock, it's the Rolling Stones and Rod Stewart, Jumpin' Jack Flash, and then Forever Rod. So that tells you exactly who that is. And then tomorrow they've got Stevie Nicks at 6. They've got Phil Collins at 8. And then they've got, Paul Simon at 10. Is that the one?
Paul Simon at 10, yeah.
Yeah,
Simon.
So you got that conflict there. And then on Sunday, though, here's one that's great. And I went to this, the Red Revolution for the Taylor Swift tribute band.
Didn't put you as a Swiftie. Didn't have that.
I'm not a Swiftie, but watching the kids, they are in heaven.
That kind of scares us. We need to be worried about that. Mad Mac watching. The
I
kids.
got kids. I got 4 kids.
That's you're right. You're
so
fine.
I think I'm taking 2 on Sunday, which is great. It's my niece and step niece and nephew, who are 2 Downs kids, and they love Taylor Swift. Oh. But the kids in the audience, I mean, they're going crazy. They think they're at a Taylor Swift concert, getting the beads and everything and singing along. They know every word to every song.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's a blast watching that part of it, though. But that's at 2 o'clock on Sunday.
Absolutely.
And that's one, get there early.
And did you say you had to cut out?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
You're okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And By the way, there was a legal question that came up. You weren't here this morning, so we're going to dump this one on you.
Okay.
So the question came up. We were talking about regulating ads on TV. And they said, when the FCC ruled that you can't have cigarette ads any longer, wouldn't that have been an argument for freedom of expression?
Yeah, I mean, I know commercial speech is protected under the First Amendment, but there's different levels of protection for different activities and different types of speech and types of conduct. I know commercial speech is a little more regulated in terms of the level of protection it has in the First Amendment, but so I'm assuming they lost the argument, but I'm sure
they did. I mean, a long time ago, but we were reminiscing because some of the old cigarette ads had some of the best music and some of the best
pretty sure
ads around.
Every actor who played the Marlboro Man died of lung cancer. I think that's an actual fact.
Yeah, I think that's
you're
right. Yeah.
I think I read that too. Yeah. Well, we were just wondering because once again we were talking about the pharmaceutical industry and the influence that they have when it comes to the news media.
Yeah, no, that is something that concerns me. Of not even so much as putting ads on and people go ask their doctors. That's of concern. But when you're your number one advertiser on every news network, is your newsroom going to go after that company?
Well, and that's the argument.
It's a big question.
That's the argument going on right now about this whole issue with the transgender treatments. That there are certain treatments that they say will cause homicidal and suicidal tendencies, and the news media, whether it's the liberal or conservative, they've all shut down that story.
Well, you know what though? I bet you can't name one pharmaceutical company that makes any of those transgender.
Actually, I can. I know several of them because back my days at the foundation. No, I know them. 845-1100. We've got a caller, so we'll take that caller. Good morning, you're on the air. Yeah. Good morning, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Dave. Hey, Tom, you might know this. Your son might know this. The reason why they didn't progress with the Bailey nuclear power plant? Even though when you look at Michigan City from the lakefront, you can see it has a nuclear plant type of cooling tower.
Yep.
Do you know the reason why they did not build one there? I talked to a pipe fitter who would have worked on that project.
It's all, every reactor program, we were supposed to have one in, I think, Indiana. Most of them, it's either the NIMBYs shut it down in the 80s and 90s or just over budget, over time. And like I said, that's been a huge problem in the nuclear industry is that, you're building every single reactor customally, So
Wait, who shut it down though? You said the NIMBYs?
Not in my backyard.
Yeah, not in my backyard.
They pretty much destroyed the nuclear industry.
So the big push against nuclear power, NIPSCO was going to build a nuclear power reactor along Lake Michigan, and a lot of the environmentalists were concerned about the impact that it would have, amongst other things, is on the Indiana dunes. And you have to remember
that was part of it. You were always going to have that. But again, I talked to a pipe fitter that was going to work. It probably would have been his entire career. This is the reason they actually bored down 600 feet, and they couldn't find bedrock. True. And you could not build that old style reactor unless you could mount it and secure it on bedrock. And he said that's why. He goes, hey, go figure, right? Ridge Road was called Ridge Road for a reason. It's all sand.
You're right. There was a tremendous problem in reaching bedrock. So you're right about that. And again, though, we're talking about the old style reactors. These new reactors, these modular reactors. I mean, these things literally can fit inside a semi truck. I mean, they're small enough,
put them on
right?
the back of a bed of a truck, yeah.
Yeah, and so you can move them in
I'm
and
all
out.
for it. I'm no different than the three of you sitting there. All of our utility bills are going up, and we can see the direction NIPSCO is getting out of coal-fired power plants. Same concept, right? You burn coal to create steam to turn the turbines.
Yep.
Right.
And nuclear is you take fusion rods and you put them in water, you make boiling water, you turn the turbines.
Yep.
And you're going to get a lot of environmentalists say, how do you dispose of the rods? the French figured out how to dispose of the rods back in the early 80s safely. So all we have to do is look outside. All we have to do is look outside our borders. I'm all for nuclear energy. Do I want to get away from coal-fired power plants? Yes. But, I mean, the United States, we are the Saudi Arabia of coal. I mean, we have a lot of coal in Kentucky, Tennessee, the Virginias.
You know, you bring up a good point with nuclear energy from the environmentalists and all that. To me, nuclear energy is the bellwether of, okay, does this person actually care? If they're claiming they care about global warming and, all this stuff, if they're not for nuclear energy, then they have ulterior motives, and they actually just want more government control.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at Fukushima,
it's the bellwether
right?
test of, do you actually care about this problem you're claiming you do, or do you have ulterior motives?
And look at Fukushima, because I always get that thrown in my face when I promote. I'm a nuke guy, right? And just look where they built it. They built it in an area that was prone to tsunamis, and they built it on a fault. What could possibly happen? But they needed to build it by the water, no different than the other nuclear power plant. Mm-hmm. You need it for the cooling. So just don't build it. Just don't build it on a fault that's prone to tsunamis, and everything will be just fine.
And 3 Mile Island is the one we always talk about. You know how many people died from 3 Mile Island? 0.
I did not know that.
You know how many people died in Fukushima from the actual radiation? I think it's the response was more disastrous than the actual incident itself. I think more people died from the evacuations, and they didn't have the best response program to the meltdown.
Well, the same thing with Chernobyl.
It was during a tsunami.
Chernobyl, the Chernobyl is an example of how terrible the Soviet Union was at doing things. They basically built a nuclear reactor with no safety regards, and then threw a brick on the accelerator.
Structure. Yeah, no containment structure.
Yeah, then they threw a brick on the accelerator because the guy who was running the plant was doing experiments that he knew he wasn't supposed to be doing.
Right, and look at all the people. Look at all the. They're all soldiers that literally sacrificed themselves. They said they couldn't be in there for more than 10 minutes, and they were in there for a half hour.
Yep.
Hey, they didn't last 30 days. They were gone. They died of radiation poisoning. So there's better, hey, technology. Can you imagine we can build something better today than we did in 1977?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Do you want to drive a car built in 1977 with, barrel brakes and, drum brakes and all that? Or do you want to drive a car built today with, disc brakes and more, all the safety features we have today?
Well,
exactly.
Did you tell me that these modular plants also they're far more efficient, and they can actually, in some cases, they're going to be designed to burn the leftover rods from
the efficiency for the waste it's almost becoming a non-issue in terms of the ability to upcycle the waste into new reactors. Yeah.
Right. So, the 2 explosions they had at Fukushima, is that because when the rods overheated, did it create nitrogen? Do you remember when the roofs blew off?
I don't know the exact detail. All I know is that the diesel generators got flooded from the tsunami, and that was the backup system that was supposed to shut it down. And it was just they had multiple backup systems, and then they didn't really account for a tsunami taking out all the backup systems at once.
Even though they were right on the edge of the even though they had 5,000 miles of water on the.
I mean, we get to sit here and play Captain Hindsight
right out of the lunch break window that you could see, and you go, and why did you put the generators in a hole?
Exactly.
I kind of would like
below sea level. Below sea level, right?
Below sea level.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
No problem.
Hey, thank you. I mean, look, some of the things that have been done, and it's kind of good to realize that it's not just the United States. Sometimes it does these ridiculous things, but building Fukushima on a fault line next to an ocean, put the pumps basically under sea level, all stupid things that, somebody sat there and said, oh, this could never happen, but it did. And when you look at Chernobyl, as you said, largely it was caused because people were
It's-
conducting experiments that they shouldn't have been conducting.
And it gets used to, as the use case of, why nuclear energy is dangerous. It's like, no, it's the demonstration of why the Soviet Union was terrible at everything they did. Like,
Yeah, that. I mean, you can't count on those guys. They can't even make good vodka with it.
Exactly. Like saying Chernobyl represents nuclear industry. It's like, okay, are you going to go drive a car that was built by the Soviet Union? Well, I can't remember what that car was, but it was like it was a death machine.
Zlots or whatever it was.
It was a death machine.
Yeah. Hey, so when they had that thing, so the over in Michigan City, that tower that's there, that was supposed to be the Bailey.
So
nuclear reactor?
Bailey was
Or
going
that
to
it?
Bailey was going to be closer to closer to Burns Harbor.
So they never did anything with it then.
They
right?
they actually they poured some concrete. There were some concrete structures, but the caller was right. There were basically problems, basically driving caissons down to the bedrock, and then the environmentalists pretty much killed it.
So
in the
that
meantime.
tower that you see right by the Michigan
That
City
is not.
Mall.
Yeah, that is
that's
not
something
part.
different.
Yeah, that's
right?
a different. That's a
Okay.
different generating plant. It is.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think it, yeah.
Yeah, because it
You
has
think
that. It has that
shape,
looming
but it's a different
look to it,
location.
and it's intimidating. And you're driving by and you see all these trees, and then this gigantic thing like on the lakefront. I'm like, what is that? Doing
Dave
there, man?
Gurman said the Yugo. The Yugo. Remember
Oh,
the Yugo?
yeah.
What a mistake that car was. Hey, we're about out of time. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for sitting in, Tom.
Who's
thanks.
coming in next?
Mad Max,
Fantastic.
thanks for sitting. Well, the award-winning Veterans Views is coming up next. So keep it tuned right here to WJOB all day, all week. This has been a lot of fun. Enjoy your holiday weekend, and we'll see you back here next Wednesday morning beginning at 6 a.m. with the Morning Call with Tom Dabertin. Have a great day, folks. Don't forget Jet TV starting this evening.
And go to church.
And show up for the game
Go Ash.
Saturday.